Hey, there we go.
Now
Hey,
recording.
at least somebody works.
What's
Somebody
up?
works in this town. Uh, you know, just going. There's the Twitch going. Now it's going. Just things. My fucking chair, man. I'm gonna. It keeps sinking down. I
Yeah,
don't know if you can.
you said you were having issues. You have to get a new chair.
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell. I keep fucking sinking down in the video. See who can watch if you're
Yeah,
watching
you
in a
said
live stream. You see me
you said you
just
were
slowly
having issues. You
sink
have to get a
down.
new chair.
No, we haven't Yeah, I done don't know if you can one. tell. I keep Done a fucking. podcast in a minute. I'm still a little sick. I think I got the flu. I don't think it was COVID.
Well, that's
No,
good.
not as unlucky as some people.
I know Heather's getting over COVID, and I haven't
You
gotten it.
got the vid.
Yeah, I mean I haven't tested positive for it.
You probably got like a real mild or
Well,
just.
that's what I was wondering because about well now it's about 2 weeks ago, so it would fit kind of the timeline. Me and Izzy,
Yeah.
were sick, but I mean it wasn't anything like really really bad. It just kind of felt like just a shitty cold, and that was kind of it. Um, but I never.
Only last a couple days.
Yeah, it only lasted 3-4 days tops. It really wasn't that bad. So then when Heather got sick, she started with and gastrointestinal and stuff like that on this past Monday, and then Tuesday she really started to feel kind of shitty, and Wednesday she had been lots of gastro issues. I'm being like PC when I say those. You kind of understand what I
Yeah.
mean. But Wednesday I was really getting kind of concerned going into, especially Wednesday morning. I could tell she was really dehydrated, and she couldn't keep anything down. So I was like, I'm gonna have to take you to the doctor, and they're gonna just give you a bag of IV fluids. I mean, that's the best thing we can give you. And so I take
Yeah,
her
I
in.
saw her Tuesday night on the D&D stream, and it looked like
Oh,
she needed a bag of fluids or
yeah,
something.
she was hurting. So
Yeah.
I took her on Wednesday, and we went to the doctor, or we went to the hospital, and we get there and tell them the symptoms, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna put you in isolation." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And they come in and they do a nose swab, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna check for flu A, flu B, RSV, and COVID." And on Tuesday, the day before, she took a COVID test and it was negative, like one of the at-home ones.
Mm.
And
So it lied.
yeah, she was negative. And then what was funny is like the doctor or the nurse came in and they saw her. And they were they had hooked her up to an IV, and then they were going to come
Yeah.
back in and give her an anti-nausea med through her IV. And the nurse came back in, and the doctor came in, and the doctor was like, "Well, I guess now since you have COVID." And we're like,
He just
What?
led with that.
yeah, she led with it. Like that was the very first thing she said to us was, since you have COVID, and we're like, what? And she goes,
Does she
yeah.
come in with a cross and the power of medicine compels you, and she's throwing water at you?
So it's like, yeah, I guess that's the situation. They're like, yeah, you've tested positive for COVID.
Didn't they like isolate you guys pretty quick?
Yeah, as soon as we came in, they moved us into like they have like the regular triage area if you come in with like a broken bone
Yeah.
or something, and then they have like a respiratory triage area that's completely separate. And we go into there, and then they moved us into the isolation waiting area, like the ER
Before
side.
you knew you had COVID,
Yeah,
or after she said
yeah.
that?
When she came in with respiratory issues,
Oh, they immediately put
they
you.
immediately put
Yeah.
you in, regardless of. And then if you
You're icky. Go over
yeah,
there,
and
away from people.
and they put us in the, and it was a like a it was like a waiting area, and they had like clear barriers and stuff set up. I'm getting an echo on your end. I don't know if you can hear it or not.
No, I saw it showing up. Craig will figure that out. It's not my problem.
Okay, this is fine. But anyway, so we go in there, and there's this other older gentleman sitting like we sat like as far away from him as possible, and I was talking to him, and come to find out he had flu B, and was in there he was coming in to get the Tamiflu stuff, and I was just sitting there thinking,
I didn't know there was A and B and C.
Yeah,
I just thought there was the flu of the season.
yeah, there's a variance of flu A, variance of flu B. I don't know what the difference between them is. I just know there's flu A and flu B. But anyway, we go in there as soon as they take us in there and they sit us down before they even told us anything about what our what our test results were. I'm just sitting in here thinking, I was like, man, if she's negative for any of these things, and they're putting us in a room where other people have,
And now you have it.
yeah. So, but fortunately, it was just one guy, and he had flu B, and he was on the other side of the room, so I know it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, they gave her fluids, and we left and came home, and they gave her a prescription for, I think it was just anti-nausea is all they gave her.
Oh,
And
that's it.
yeah, that was it. And then that was on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, I would try to call our doctor, and I was like, hey, she has COVID, she's not doing well. I wanted to get her the antivirals, and our doctor sucked and never called us back. And then after like their office hours closed, I called CVS because they've got that Minute Clinic, and highly recommend it. Like I went online and like set up all the information, and you put your name and your date of birth and all that in, your insurance information, and they give you like set number of
You
times.
do that through the drive-through?
No, he did it online. Like
I know, but can you go pick up your stuff in the
yeah,
drive-through?
yeah, yeah. So we did her online visit, and they prescribed her the antivirals, an inhaler, and something else. I don't remember what it was. I think it was cough medicine. It was like those little Tessalon Pearl things that are like the hardcore. You'll not cough with those things. And
Interesting.
yeah, she started taking the antivirals Thursday night, and midday on Friday, she was feeling. She's like, I feel sick, but she goes, I'm not that bad. She kind of been upgraded from COVID to like a cold.
Yeah.
And yesterday,
Which she might also have.
yeah, who knows? But and then yesterday she was doing really good, and today she was, her and Izzy decorated for Christmas and stuff today, and so I mean she overdid
back
it.
to-
She did.
Yeah, back to semi-normal. Probably
Yeah.
not 100, probably like 70%, but
Yeah, and then here, I don't know if I told you this or not. I wake up Friday morning, and I've got a terrible swelling and a tooth pain, and I'm like, oh my god, I've got an abscess tooth, like motherfucker. So I call the doctor, and they give me a prescription for some antibiotics, and my mom goes and picks them up for me, and she brings them to me, and I start taking them, and I notice like 30 minutes or so after I take them, it's like the swelling would like move down across my lips and stuff, and I had just like swollen lips. Had some really impressive dick sucking lips.
nice.
And I was just
DSLs?
I had some serious DSLs, and I thought it was just the sweat, the infection or something moving around. That's just, I didn't think anything about it. And then this morning when I got up, I was really swollen. I mean, big
Yeah.
DSLs, And I was like, that just doesn't seem right. It shouldn't be moving. It shouldn't have swelling like that. So I went online and I searched the side effects of the medication, and they're like, oh, if you have any form of swelling of your face, lips, or tongue, you need to immediately stop because you're having an allergic reaction. I was like, son of a bitch. So I had to stop taking my antibiotics. So tomorrow I've got to call and see if they can give me something else. The swelling has gone down for the most part, but I'm still a little sensitive. But yeah, so like it just sucked. This past week has just been a terrible week.
It's been fun.
Yeah, Heather's been sick. I've got a tooth infection, and then
I swear something's going around.
Yeah,
everyone's getting sick. You can't even fucking find. Because my daughter had a temp of like 104, and I was feeling like shit. And we have like some cough medicine, but not for her. She's only 3, so I have to get like the children's kind.
Right.
And at first, she wasn't coughing. She just had a fever, so we wanted to get like Tylenol.
Right.
Well, we went to Walmart. They had none.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like none. They had one in the back by like the baby shampoos and stuff, by like the baby stuff. They had one bottle of baby ibuprofen, which is not ideal. It's not as good as the Tylenol.
It doesn't work
it's not
as a fever reducer.
Yeah. So we were like, well, we'll just get that, because it was like 10 o'clock at night. Like nothing else was open but Walmart. So we're like, we'll get that, see what happens. Then the next day, I was feeling like shit still. I took the day off of work, and I was like, I'm going to go check some other stores. And I found another store had 2 fucking boxes of children's Tylenol. They were like $12.
That was the same thing when I went after Heather got her prescription for CVS. I went to CVS and went through the drive-thru to pick up her meds, and Izzy, God love her. Her and the dog were playing on the bed Thursday, on the bed on Friday, and she just fell off our bed. Like she's just a klutz, and she hit her arm on my dresser. And so when I went, I was like, well, I'll get her some children's Tylenol because she's hurt her arm, and that's the same thing. I go and I was like, hey, I need some children's Tylenol, and the nurse or the woman comes back and she goes, you're lucky, this is the last one. I'm like,
dang. Well, at least they had one.
Yeah. It was like it was just strange. It just didn't click. And then I realized that this is going around and everybody's sick, and like, okay, then it makes sense. But
yeah, like everybody's sick. Yeah. Like at my work, like everybody's fucking sick. All their kids are sick.
Yeah. Well, they said
I feel like it's. I don't know. It feels like this is our first maybe sort of normal. Everyone's kind of gone back to, all right, fuck COVID. We're just all going to go to people's houses for Thanksgiving and everything. Yeah. So I feel like this is after a 2-year like hiatus for everyone's immune system. Everyone is now being thrown back into what happens around holiday time when every school-age child is exposed to each other, sneezing and coughing right into people's faces after they've been around family, and it's just spreading like wildfire.
Little plague bearers. But no, honestly, I think that has a lot to do with it. We've gone 2 years without being exposed to just everyday viruses and shit.
I'm here. I'm a lot higher now.
But we've just gone 2 years without being exposed to these, to viruses and just the everyday cold stuff. And then here we are, 2 years. We're going to go back and we're just going to immediately go back to normal. And it shows.
Yeah,
I mean, like our immune systems haven't. We've had 2 years off and no colds, no flu, no runny nose, no just typical shit that you and we would work through. Before COVID.
Minimal stuff.
Yeah, before COVID, if I had a cold, I mean, I'm popping Sudafed or Tylenol and I'm going to work. And now it's like, oh man, you've got, you're sick, you stay home, which I think it's great. Like I'm all for it, but it's just completely different now. It's a completely different world.
Yeah. Well, and that's how it was in the second year after COVID. We were doing no more masks, but everyone was still being super cautious. Anytime anyone did get sick, almost nobody went to work or school or anything.
Yeah.
But then this year, at least in the last several months, people kind of been like, "Yeah, COVID's in the past." And
Yeah.
they've kind of forgotten about it. Everyone's going to school and work sick, and the economy's not helping.
Yeah, no. Well, and that's the cool thing, with the antivirals that Heather was taking was they work so well. Like everybody I've talked to is like, yeah, I've taken them. Within a couple of days, you're feeling great, and it's a 5-day regimen. But
Yeah,
the only side effect that is like common from everybody I've talked to, and Heather included, they say you get the worst taste in your mouth. It's this like metallic-y, nasty taste, and Heather's like, it is the worst,
from that
worst.
medicine.
Yeah, from the medicine, she goes,
Hmm.
it's terrible. And then what's even worse is she's now lost her taste and smell, and she's like, that's the only thing I can taste is that god awful taste from whatever that is.
Oh, that's not fun.
Yeah, so
It'd be
she's
better to have no taste than
yeah,
just that.
yeah. That
Then you could do
started.
the for the TikTok videos and shit where they're like, "What can I eat that I
Yeah,
don't taste?" And they fucking see what they can get away with.
well, that was the last time she had COVID and she lost her taste. She ate a bunch of the Fireball candies and instantly regretted it
Mm.
because she ate too many and didn't know that it had just tore her mouth up, and she didn't know any better. But
Yes, I'm not doing that again.
yeah, so lessons learned. But yeah,
Mm.
it's just weird. Everybody's been getting sick, so hopefully we're getting past it, and everybody will get sick, and then everybody will get sick, and then we'll have an immune system again. We can keep moving forward.
Yeah, maybe 2023 will be our year.
Yeah.
Maybe the Cowboys will win a few games. Maybe it'll be our year. But yeah, a lot, friggin' so much has happened. That the world moves so fucking fast now. We took 1 week off because I was sick and I could barely like breathe or talk last week. That's why we didn't have an episode last week. I still have it a little bit, but it's not as bad. But even just taking 1 week off, we missed so much fucking
Yeah.
shit.
I know the big thing is I
Like,
know we missed the Game Awards,
and we
which
missed the Game Awards. We missed Bill Clinton winning Game of the Year. I mean, congrats.
I, I do you know that this kid has done this before? Like they've said that he's tried and pulled these stunts at other venues and places. Like they
Yeah,
use
one of
like
his
the
first ones. I watched an interview with him, and he was talking about he's been doing it since he's like 12. One of the first ones he did was at a Blizzard event.
yeah.
He was the kid that was running down around the like live stream, saying "Free Hong Kong, Free Hong Kong." He was that kid. If you remember that clip from, that was him.
Did he
Uh,
has he said like
he
why he's doing it?
he just enjoys, I don't know, being a troll.
I mean, more power to him. I mean, the fact that he just rolled up with them and like nobody paid
I
any.
saw I wasn't watching it with anybody. I was watching it by myself, but I saw him like after they got to the hold on the fucking chair. After they got to the stage, I didn't see him walk up. I saw it later in like video clips, but when they were on the stage and they were like talking and doing their stuff cuz they'd been on the stage earlier. So they had to do it in his translator and they're up on the stage and I'm like, "Who the fuck is that kid in the background?" And I said that like right after they got on stage. I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" And they kept talking and then they were like done and I was like, "Huh, maybe that was one of their kids or something." And then he steps up to the mic and says, "I would like to thank my what did he say?
My
My
rabbi. I wanted my
my
rabbi Bill Clinton.
rabbi, Bill Clinton.
Well, see the
I'd
way
like
he
to
said it.
nominate him."
The way he said it, I couldn't tell if he was like, "I want to thank my rabbi," and then like comma Bill Clinton. To me, I heard, "I want to thank my rabbi Bill Clinton." Like his
Oh,
rabbi
like
is Bill
both, like
Clinton. Yeah.
that. That's what everyone online assumed that his rabbi was Bill Clinton.
So, I just like I don't know.
I didn't even think of that. You might be right. Everyone
Yeah.
online has assumed he said his rabbi was Bill Clinton. Now that you say that, maybe he was thanking his rabbi and Bill Clinton.
That's yeah. That's what I've been curious about that and thinking about that since it happened because I was like, at first I was like, okay, maybe he has a rabbi named Bill Clinton, and it's just an unfortunate name that this guy has. Like he
That'd be
just
funny too.
yeah. That's
All I know is there was people that said they knew him, and that for like a week leading up to the event, he was telling them like, "Oh, I'm going to the event and I'm going to get on stage and thank my rabbi." He never said anything about Bill Clinton. I've seen like screenshots of like Discord conversations that are supposedly from him. I mean, you could fake those. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you fake those though? That seems weird.
No, that's the weird part. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about during the Game Awards, after Elden Ring won Game of the Year, congratulations.
Not a
I don't know if that's the
surprise.
right choice, but
Hugely popular in like mainstream gaming. I
yeah,
mean,
we'll talk about that in a second. But after they won, during their acceptance speech, a kid had like followed them up on stage as they were going up there. He just started clapping and got up out of a seat and followed them as they went up on stage, and nobody stopped him. And then he just stood behind them as they were doing their whole acceptance speech, a couple different like directors and stuff, and they finished. And then he like stepped up in front of them and took the mic, and then like we just said, he thanked his rabbi Bill Clinton. Whether he was thanking his rabbi who's named Bill Clinton or his rabbi and Bill Clinton, I guess we'll never know.
yeah, I need that clarification. We need to clarify.
Yeah, maybe I need to rewatch the clip. You can find the clip online if you haven't seen it yet. I'd be surprised if you haven't heard of it. At this point, we're so far out of the game now. That was freaking 11 days ago now, or something like that. It's
Yeah.
been so long since we did a. But yeah, that's what we would have talked about last week if I wasn't so sick I could barely breathe or talk. But yeah, Elden Ring. I don't know. I thought for sure God of War would have won it because by that point in the night they'd won like 6 other awards, something like that, 5 or 6 other awards, and like I don't know. I feel like Elden Ring has more replayability, more hours in it. I've never played either, so we're really speaking out of school. I don't know if you've played either.
No,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't when Elden Ring dropped. I wasn't. Well, I mean, I was doing my streaming stuff, which I'm woefully behind on right now.
Yeah.
But I was doing streaming stuff, and it just didn't fit into what I was wanting to do. And I was the way I know with some streamers they're like, oh, you need to pick a couple of days to stream, and then have a couple of days that you're just playing for yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it, but then on the other hand, the times that I do play, like it's either my time is limited, so I may as well stream what I'm playing.
Yeah, you might as well, and
Yeah.
you got to be consistent. And like, yeah,
Right. So I'm
streaming is so hard. If we all knew 15 years ago that you could make it a full time job, we all would have stuck with it.
with that, and the only way for you to make it a full time job back then was you had to have. Number one, you couldn't have a full time. You couldn't have a full time job back then, but you had to have the finances that was basically a full time job. So
Yeah.
you had to stream like it's full time, and you have to have that income in the background before you can even make that income. And I mean now,
Yeah. Well, the money wasn't there back then.
Right.
Now, you can be a relatively small streamer, depending how you do it and how you market yourself and what you sell and what kind of advertising you do. You don't even need 300 subscribers or something. You make enough money.
yeah, or if you pick up a sponsor or
Yeah.
something, I don't know if we should talk about it on the podcast or not. Um, I I joined an affiliate program for an energy supplement um, company. I'm not going to name it or anything because I haven't decided if I'm actually going to like do it or not because I haven't taken the time to read their fine print. And the main thing for me is what do or they don't allow on streaming.
Yeah.
If to be a part of their affiliates, I have to be family friendly or kid friendly. Then it's just like no, I'd rather not.
Oh.
You know.
Whoa. A lot of those are so. A lot of those are different how they worked back in the day too, and
Yeah.
some of them are so hands off they don't give a shit. They literally give you a link, and they
Yeah.
just pay you based off of that link. If
That's
100 people click that link and 2 people buy something, they pay you off of those 2 people to buy something. They
right.
don't give a shit about you regardless of that because they got their clicks either way. And some of them are a more hands-on sponsor where they watch and they'll interact with you, and that's for eh, bigger streamers most of the
Yeah.
time.
And
You don't get hands-on streamers with.
I get the feeling that that's probably the the first one you said, the former one you said that was all kind of hands off. I feel like
Yeah,
that's probably what they are, but before I
probably.
yeah
I'm sure they have stuff written in the small print, like don't say this or do that. But also, if you're not big enough to get the attention, they're not gonna care.
yeah, and that's
They just want their clicks and their sales.
right, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like if that's all it takes, and then they're supposed to give you some kickbacks, not just in any type of like, oh, if somebody buys something through your link or whatever. They're supposed to have a database that they're supposed to market you. Um, that they
Yeah,
but
I don't know how that works either.
I don't like I said I don't know. So it's just like
Yeah,
before I take that step, because I'm okay doing streaming now, and I've made a very minuscule amount of money over the last year, which is cool. Anytime I make any bit of money on this, I'm just blown away that somebody wants to give me money to watch me play video games or do this or do D
right.
and D or whatever. It just blows my mind. But it's just I don't know. I the more I sit and think about it, I can't make up my mind if I want to do it or not, because I don't want to be beholden to a sponsor. Oh well, you have rules and stuff to follow and stuff like that. And like I'm barely making it now, and you're going to constrain me even further. No, thank you.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
that's
Maybe we'll look into it more. Maybe we'll talk about it on another podcast or whatnot. But yeah, it's just the whole streaming in general has changed so
yeah.
much.
Streaming. I keep waiting for Twitch keeps making a lot of wrong decisions.
Yeah.
Like they want to have it fail, kind of like what Twitter's doing with Elon. Hold
Well,
on one second.
this is
Kind of
the
what
chair
Elon's
episode.
doing.
Um,
Uh, but like, there's nobody else big enough for that has done it right. YouTube Gaming's really tried. It's just not the same because
mhm.
it's weird. You're trying to make the same format and like the UI that's set up for watching videos and commenting and stuff. You're trying to force that to work with like a live stream service, and like it doesn't work. Like even when people are live streaming, it gets lost. Like when you're looking for videos, I can't tell who is or isn't live streaming at the time because
Yeah.
somebody couldn't put live on their thumbnail, and it makes them look like they're live. It's not a clear indication. And even when I'm watching somebody live, I don't know, it feels weird on YouTube.
I've never even
The
watched it.
environment's different. It's like I'm trying to think of like a good example.
Well, they changed their mobile UI where they now have YouTube Shorts, which is basically their
Yeah, those
version
are
of
weird
TikTok.
too.
And yeah, their I've noticed that whatever maybe the last month or 2 months
Yeah.
they've changed the way they're.
They need
I just
to
don't like it.
they need to like reframe the whole UI when you click on live cuz it's like you're like going from watching something on your TV to still sitting on your couch, but now you're watching a live concert in front of you and you're like supposed to participate and all this stuff. But to you, you're still sitting in the same environment. That's kind of like
Yeah.
they're trying to force the same environment and have you have a completely different feeling. Because when you come on Twitch, depending on like what stream you're on or what community you're in or whatever, you might not even be watching. You might be focused on the chat. It's
Yeah.
a whole different thing. It's set up to be a community and chat with the streamer and the other people watching. And like on YouTube, it's set
It's
up to
not.
just click on a video and just sit there and watch it,
Well,
not be interactive.
I've considered branching out through other platforms, and
Yeah.
I'm set up for YouTube, um, but I just don't like their user interface. I don't like. I mean, I don't. I've even gotten like really bad. I haven't been uploading content like my backlog of videos and stuff because there for the longest time, every time I would do like a couple of days of streaming, I would then like upload that to YouTube, and it would
Yeah.
be because Twitch only saves 2 weeks worth of content before it drops out. So I was uploading to YouTube just because I was just a steady, almost like an archive, of the content, which is what I wanted it to be. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't even doing that is a pain in the butt.
No,
Um,
it's kind of
yeah,
that's what I used to do is take stuff and upload it on YouTube, and sometimes I'd edit it down and sometimes I just upload the full video. And like most of the time I'd get more views from YouTube. But then the views on YouTube are, again, it's also so different that 1,000 views on YouTube means nothing, but 1,000 views on Twitch, that's quite a bit.
that's huge on Twitch. Um,
That's a lot. Even if it was 1,000 views of your VOD, is a lot.
yeah, and
That's gigantic.
I've looked at them. I know Facebook has a Facebook gaming section that has really fallen off.
Yeah,
Nobody,
theirs is the same problem. It's not the right environment.
yeah.
Like,
I've looked at that. I know Twitter has something similar to it. Um,
yeah,
and then
TikTok has live streaming. I
yeah,
was
and
just
see, I mean, if I was to do streaming anywhere else, I would
yeah,
do it on TikTok. Um,
TikTok might be a good one. I was just thinking about. I wonder what his statistics look like. I wish I could find out, but Ninja recently, like 2 months ago or something, has started streaming on everything. He would stream
yeah,
on Twitch and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, I think. I don't think he was doing Facebook. If
but
I remember right, it was everyone but no, never mind. I just looked it up. He is doing on Facebook too. So on 6 different platforms all at once. Like he hits live and he has his thing where it goes to all of those in
right.
all the different formats and it goes to all those at the same time. And I'm wondering what his numbers look like. Like I'm sure he's making money from all of them, but I wonder how many. I still feel like Twitch is the better of all of those
I think
for
Twitch,
gaming.
yeah, I think Twitch and I think TikTok, I think are the two
Yeah,
most.
TikTok's got to be like right there. Money wise, he probably gets more from Twitch, but like uh interaction wise, TikTok's really well set up for like live streaming
The only
anything.
thing that's keeping me from doing anything on TikTok is the amount of followers you have to have.
Oh yeah,
You have to
I
have a
think you have
minimum
to
of
have.
1,000.
Oh, was it 1,000? I thought it
Yeah,
was 500.
well, maybe it's changed, but the
Some
last
it's
time I
something like
looked at it,
that.
yeah, last time I looked at it, it was you had to have 1,000 followers before you could do live stream, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't have that.
I don't have that, and I mean, now okay, I guess what I could do is I could start uploading clips from uh, uploading clips from our gaming nights or whatever, and making TikToks
Yeah,
out of them, and I could
that's
probably,
hard too. Like
but it's really time consuming.
if you don't have like a content or like somebody a content manager
Yeah,
that's gonna do all that stuff for you, like Ninja has a team of them. Mr. Beast has a team of them. Like
yeah. All the big
if you
guys
don't have
have a
those to do
team.
all that shit by yourself to try and stream on Twitch and then game and then
Yeah,
upload this to YouTube and then put that if you don't have all that, if you're just by yourself or maybe even just you and you have like one mod or whatever, you kind of have to pick one. You have to only do Twitch or only you do YouTube or only do TikTok. There's no way that you by yourself are going to be able to do all that and edit and throw it all. I mean, maybe you could do it, but quality's going to suffer. There's
yeah.
no way you can do it and do it well.
What for me? I mean, looking at it because I've considered it. For me, what I would have to do is I use our 9 o'clock time frame to do all my gaming because that's when the kids go to bed and
Yeah.
it becomes my time. So I would look at it and say, okay, I would have to game for minimum would have to be an hour. Okay, so then I can game for an hour, and then I need to spend another hour taking that content that I just created and hopefully getting maybe one clip out of it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not creating amazingly good content, but I would have to find like one 15 or 30-second clip that would be worthy of putting on TikTok and doing that on a consistent basis. And the games that I choose to play aren't really conducive for that. Like, on Mondays
Yeah.
I'm doing retro gaming. Okay, cool. I'm playing Doom right now. Um, what could I pull out of a Doom? I play two
Those
hours of
are
Doom. Like,
yeah, those are hard. Like
yeah. I mean, if you're playing competitive, you're playing shooters. Okay, you get this really cool multi kill. Yeah, so throw it into a TikTok, throw a music piece of sound file on it, and go, and that's okay. It works out. But I mean,
yeah,
I
it's
can't.
so hard. Like it's so hard too because you have so many things going against you. You have I forget who I heard this from, but a long time ago I heard somebody when talking about live streaming. I wish I remembered who it was who said it, but they basically said you either need looks or you need to be talented and entertaining.
Right.
You can be god awful and garbage at Call of Duty, like Nadia. You can be
She
bad at a game, but if you look half decent, she's not
did
even. I
you
don't.
did
I
you
don't
hear
get
about
it.
her latest ban?
Yeah, she was only banned for like 4 hours.
Yeah, she had
She got it undone.
yeah that.
Yeah,
Oh, oh.
she doxed somebody that donated $1 that said something.
You
He
cut
was
yeah
spicy with it. He said something obnoxious, and she was like, "Oh, really? Well, let me just give out your personal name and address." And yeah, Twitch doing what Twitch does. The moderators there. They always joke about the fucking nerdy moderators that simp over the female streamers and let them get away with everything. Well, they were supposed to ban her for like 72 hours or
yeah
something, but
it
she
took
only she only served 4 hours of that before she was unbanned
I just
because
that
she
just
said sorry, sorry.
yeah that just mm,
Yeah, you either need to be good looking
yep
or you need to be super entertaining and talented.
right
Make content out of nothing. Play the absolute worst fucking games, but because your personality's fucking up here,
yep
you're exciting to watch. But even with all that, that's just to get in the door, get a few viewers. But then to actually make something out of it, then you have to hit the third thing, which is just pure luck.
right
And then all of those, no matter which one, to be successful, you have to put in the work.
yep yep
But the hard part is the work. That doesn't, they always, all the motivational speakers and the YouTube videos and all this will say, oh, if you're just consistent and work, that's one very small part of that entire formula.
yeah
You can put as much work as you possibly want and fucking get 2 hours of sleep a night, and that's all you do is focus on making your content. That'll help some,
well and
but
that's
like if you don't have those other things, looks, or you're talented and entertaining, or you're lucky, just the working, that's not going to be enough. I hate to tell you.
yeah
I hope.
yeah well no you're exactly right and I mean we've missed we missed a window that we didn't even know existed um because I mean like we pride ourselves on being gamer dads which
Yeah.
means we really should be dad gamers because being a father being a husband those come first to
Hmm.
being a gamer so you have to you would have to pick something that would suffer because to make your content better you would have to you would have to miss a t-ball game
Yeah.
or you would have to miss a family dinner
Yeah,
and
unless I
that's
can afford to pay somebody to do it all, and I'm
right
only gaming for an hour or two, and I go, you pick some clips out of that and upload them. I gotta play to go watch
yeah
with my
it,
kids.
exactly and it's kind of it's like that it's that vicious circle of like you got to have money to make money but you got to make money to have money so you're
Hmm.
constantly and like I said that's the window that we've missed because apparently there was a time and a place where if you'd have gotten in earlier and put a little bit of time in and just been consistent you could possibly be making maybe a few $100 a month maybe $1,000 a month or something like that
Yeah,
um
if we wait like 5, 6, 7 more years, though, we will hit. And I've only seen. I'm sure there's more. I'm just saying. I've only personally seen one channel that's done this. Uh, that has successfully had a dad and his kids. He has multiple gaming together and releasing content. But again, the guy that I know, the channel, they have a content creator that does
mhm.
the editing and the hard part of it. But still, if we wait a little while longer, our kids will get to the age where maybe they want to game with us, and then you can pick content out of that. But again, you're at that point where if you're having to do the editing and stuff, either you have to focus on one very specific thing and just do that one specific thing very well and hope you are lucky and hope you're talented enough to make something of it, or you're going to have to hope that you have enough money that you can afford to pay somebody else.
Yeah, and that's it's.
Hang on, Q. We raise the chair up. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just happy. The streaming and stuff for me is really just a hobby.
Yeah.
That's
how you got to look at it, and like not look at the numbers. I keep telling you that. Don't even look. I don't.
I can't help.
I don't even look. I don't even look at the numbers for Pigspot anymore. I haven't for a while because I don't care. Well, people will hit us up and let me know that they listen. That's cool, but I don't want to. It's not that I don't care. I'd love more listeners. That'd be cool. That'd be great. I'd love to create a little community, like what we used to have with Drunken Halo before. They got busy with life and kids, and were more dad than gamer. But either way.
Well, and that's just that's something that we need, that we could be focusing on, and we could continue to grow that. But when it comes to looking at the numbers, I don't care what the numbers are. I just like to know what they are. I just like to kind of see.
As long as you're looking at them and not getting discouraged and go, oh, that's interesting. We have one more this week than last week.
Yeah, it's like that's cool. Like we talked about. I changed the way our stuff displays in Twitch. Instead of it saying the Pigs podcast, it now says the Politically Incorrect Gamers podcast. And I'm just kind of watching and going, is that making a difference in our viewer base?
Yeah, I probably should check the numbers for the podcast too, because I changed how the name and stuff showed up in iTunes.
Yeah,
I changed it so it doesn't say Pigspot. It says it focuses more on the gaming podcast of it instead of Pigspot, because nobody's gonna know what Pigspot is.
Exactly, and that's what I changed it in Twitch to go to the Politically Incorrect Gamers podcast. And
welcome, by the way, to the Politically Incorrect Gamers podcast. If you made it this far in for the intro, 40 minutes in.
40 minutes in. But and I just like little stuff like that. Seeing if it makes a difference, and it kind of has to an extent. I mean, everything like so far I don't have enough data for it to be doing anything serious with analyzing the data, but anecdotally, the first week we had about 3 more listeners than we did the first time, from when I made the change, and then the second week we had like 1 more listener on top of that, so 4 since we made a change. And then we did.
That's 30% increase.
Yeah, so I mean, is that because we're being more consistent? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But and
it's slightly annoying when you hear. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this, but maybe we don't say things nicely on here.
No, we don't.
There's other podcasts that are kind of sleepy time and have way more listeners, and you hear from like our certain, I don't want to call anyone out and say who has said this, because a few people have said this, but they really enjoy listening to our show. They love it. There's a kind of little community in this gaming community of the Drunken Halo, and I won't name the other ones. You know who I'm talking about if you're listening to this. Q knows who I'm talking about. Some of the other podcasts that are on this community that we all listen to and all engage in the community.
Yeah.
We've had several people say that I love yours so much more, but they are better at advertising. They don't say that part. I'm adding that part. They're better at advertising. They're better at the social aspect of it.
That's 100%
posting when they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
They're better at doing an intro to their podcast. They're better at doing an outro to their podcast and saying, make sure you follow us on such and such. We forget all that because we're a much more conversational podcast, which is a little less sleepy time, which is, we've been told by several users. I won't call anyone out, at least 4 different ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot, but it is nice. I do enjoy the compliment.
Yeah.
You know who you are if you've said it. You enjoy listening to our podcast. You enjoy our conversational aspect of the podcast. You don't mind me lifting up my chair every 5 fucking minutes because it keeps drifting down.
Like I said, that's why my feet are firmly planted on the ground. See, all the way at the bottom. You know.
You enjoy that we don't hold punches and we swing at people that are more successful and have bigger numbers than we do because we aren't afraid of you. We know we're
Mhm.
better.
Yeah. And if we're not, we think we are, and we don't give a shit.
Yeah. The
Um,
numbers mean nothing. We know we're having more fun. That's all I'm saying.
well, that's the big thing, and that's something that I've noticed listening to a lot of podcasts, not just in our circle of podcasts.
Yeah. Not even just gaming.
Not just in gaming. Across any of our other podcasts that I might listen to or may not listen to. The big difference between us and them is the level of conversation and the fact that we can sit down. We have no game plan other than, hey, you want to talk about this tonight? Okay, cool. And then
Yeah.
we may or may not even get to that topic.
Yeah.
But
And I'm not saying we're the most entertaining podcast in the world.
I am.
I'm just saying we're
I'll say it.
keep saying it.
I don't care if
What's
I'm
up,
right or
Rabble?
wrong.
That's what I'm
Rabble.
saying. More pigs, more subs. All I'm saying is I have a friend who I'm also not going to call out just because I really I do this dude's a stand-up fucking dude I've known for like 12 years. Their podcast is actually one of the biggest gaming podcasts on iTunes. They have over 100,000 subscribers. They're fucking huge. I can't listen to it. It's boring fucking shit. I don't get how people listen to it. And no hate against him. It's a fucking great podcast. I don't know what you did to the stream there.
I
Pushing
refreshed
buttons,
something.
Q's breaking stuff. But
My
no hate to them. All I'm saying is they've figured out all the shit we were just talking about, the TikTok and the Twitch. They figured out the formula that works, that gets them listeners and gets them engagement. But I don't know. It feels like cheating, you know? It's like if I got
really
on. It's
does.
like if I got on Call of Duty and I could definitely hack. I could definitely cheat and get more kills, but it's not as fun as getting a kill the legit way. If that makes sense.
No, honestly, that makes a ton of sense.
I'd rather get that headshot myself. I'd rather get one listener by myself than cheat to get 20 headshots, 20 listeners.
I completely agree. I like the organic growth over anything else. I picked up a follower a couple of weeks ago, and he just showed up in the chat, said, "Hey man, what's up?" He donated a few bits and hung out for the entire stream, and I was like, "Where the fuck did this guy come from? That's awesome."
Yeah.
And that's like one organic follower that I've picked up 6 months maybe, and that one organic follower is more meaningful than anything else. Now, granted, all of the people like Rabble or Mystery or people that's in our community, I love them. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
But it was really really cool to pick up just this person that just happened to click on my name that I was click on my whatever game I was playing at the time. I think that's really cool.
It's always been a mystery to me. It's made not real mystery. That's different. Shout out to Real Mystery. We might need to have on an upcoming episode pretty soon.
I think
Hopefully.
so.
We'll let him know that like this. We'll let him know. We'll see if he listens. We'll find out.
I'll get a message
no.
from him in the next couple of days.
Yeah, probably.
He'll listen to it. I know he does.
But it's always been a mystery to me that kind of like how we were talking. There's ways you can get an algorithm of certain websites and apps to push you further up, and then people notice you, and then they kind of join the community. But that doesn't necessarily that you're better at optimization. You're better at SEO. You're better at getting your thing in front of more eyes, but that doesn't necessarily mean your thing is better. Again, we're not saying we're the best. Q is saying we're the best.
I am.
We're
I'll
not
say it.
saying we're the best.
Fuck 'em.
We're saying we're better than some, and we still have less numbers than you because we're not worried about pushing us out in front of everyone and focusing on that. Because again, we're dad gamers.
It's just a
We're
damn
dads
shame.
first. I haven't played DMZ all week, and there's a new update. There's a new
I
part of the
haven't played
map.
either.
There's a
Yeah.
new raid. I haven't played it. Because we're not focused on that. We're focused on we're giving you better quality.
Well, with the exception of our show, I'm really bad about going balls out on a game and playing, and then all of a sudden I don't play it for 3 weeks. And
Yeah.
it just I just don't, and I don't, and sometimes I'll just stop playing it altogether, and not even have like a reason why I did it. Like Hell Let Loose is a great example. I was playing it religiously, like every day, all day, every chance I got, I was playing it, and all of a sudden I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'll go play something else for a while.
Yeah, see, I bought that and didn't even play it once.
Yeah. Well, they just had another big update too that I think is great. Um, they updated it to where you could take light colored or snow colored uniforms when you're playing on snow maps. So I thought that was kind of cool. I know it's like one of the little things they updated. Um, they added a night mode where you
That sounds every game should have proximity chat. We've already said that, but now we're adding to the list. Every game should also have weather and day and night maps.
yeah. And then this Hell Let Loose.
Whether you're a shooter or a racing game or a sports game, give me an option to play football at night in the rain.
Yeah. Well, that's what Hell Let Loose has done is they've taken all of their maps and can now be played at night, and the tactics change because I mean it's a war simulator.
You can't see anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't see anything, so you've got to there's you can use things like the illumination where you fire phosphorus across the map and it illuminates stuff and you have to account for those things. So I mean it's really a great game. I just don't play it.
Sounds fun.
And I mean-
That's one thing Halo 5 almost got right, because they had variations of maps that had night modes, but then they weren't the same map. It was a whole different map, and it's like, man, I really like to just play that other same map on the night and see
Yeah.
how different it is. You're forcing it to be a different map because it's a different map. But I don't know.
No,
But,
yeah,
we're-
it's just completely different.
We're gonna lose the few listeners we have that are from these other shows because they're like, "Fuck you, my show's better."
Is it though?
Is it though? That's what we're saying. Is it though? Are we better? Who knows? I don't know. I just think we're having more fun, and it's not as monotone and forced. And let's go down the list of topics today, guys. Sleepy time.
Yeah. I mean, I've
Hey,
always
hang on,
struggled
Q. I
with
gotta raise my chair.
that. I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with doing podcasts because I mean I've done like the entire gambit. I've done like really scripted. Okay, we're going to spend 15 minutes on this topic. We're going to spend 15 minutes on that topic, and then
Move on
you
down
move
the
on
list.
down the line.
Make sure we hit this point and this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've done like the ones in the middle where it's like, okay, here's our topics. We need to hit them.
You sometimes go off the
Yeah.
rail. Yeah.
And then there's us that we kind of have.
We
a
have
topic.
no script.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about a topic today. We both knew that we'd talk about being sick because we were sick.
Yep.
We both knew we'd talk about the Game Awards.
Yeah.
It just organically comes up and is a conversation, and it's not for everybody. But I feel like it's more entertaining. I guess it depends what you're looking for with your podcast. Are you looking for just news and information, or are you looking for something to try and entertain you?
Or commentary on the information. But I don't know. Like I said,
I do think we need to improv more and throw more funny stuff in our podcast like we used to. But we'll get to that.
we're gonna go back
we're
to
still-
calling 24-hour
we need to
fitness
go-
when they're closed.
24-hour fitness and say, why are you closed? And call Apple and ask why our podcast doesn't show up and stuff like that.
I
See if what did I ask GameStop for? That one that you weren't on. I was bad
yeah.
friend or something.
yeah, I don't
can't
remember what was going on. Yeah, I think I
It's
was
still one of our most listened to podcasts.
but no,
I did look at our numbers recently for what's the most downloaded episodes. And I'm not saying you're the problem, Q. I'm just saying our 3 top episodes don't have you in them.
I don't give a shit. That's fine.
Our number 1 is me by myself. I don't know why. Our number 2 is the one that was me and Bunge. Bunge filled in for you, I guess. I can't remember why you weren't there. And then the number 3 one, I think, is again just me by myself. I don't know why you guys listen to me by myself all the time. Because I have a podcast that I do by myself and you guys don't listen to it. But if I do this podcast by myself, you guys are like, fucking, finally, Q's not here.
I guess.
I don't know why you guys click on it so much.
Is it me? Am I the problem?
Am I the drama? But then it's funny, those have the most downloads. So I don't know if the name, maybe it's the name Oreo is pushing them further up or something. I have no
You
idea.
know, honestly, it could be because
Maybe
with
because
that
I
being
never get feedback on those episodes. They just have the most downloads.
it could be. Honestly, it really could be that it is bumping you up because it's a recognizable name.
Maybe
It's actually probably likely.
we don't look at the math and the algorithms, and we don't optimize for that kind of stuff. We just, again, we're just here to do it. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's it. We're just here to do it. But yeah, like I said, there's outside of being sick and the Game Awards. You know, I did want to talk a little bit about some of the changes and whatnot that they've made to Warzone.
oh, we can do that. I also wanted to talk about, which just happened a few hours ago. Elon Musk tweeted out a poll. Should I step down as the head of Twitter?
I was going to
I
bring that
will
up.
abide by the results of this poll. I just checked it now. There's 9 million votes. And you won't be surprised to learn that 56.8% of them are for yes. You should step down as the head of Twitter.
How long is the poll supposed to last?
I think for 24 hours. Hold on, where'd it go?
Because my prediction is at the very last minute there's going to be
a shit ton of bots or something.
Shit ton of bots or a bunch of no votes.
8 hours left. So 8 hours from now,
it's going to wildly swing within like the last hour, and it's going to be a bunch of no's, and he's going to be like, "See, here it is.
See, they love me.
Either that,
they weren't booing me like at the Dave Chappelle thing he was at recently. They wouldn't even let him get a word in. Everyone was booing him.
Either that, or all the people that voted yes, he's going to pick like half of them and just ban
their accounts so that it doesn't the vote doesn't count." And they love me. They really love me.
That just like I said, I think that the issue that I have with Elon Musk is he is not independently wealthy. His wealth came from his family, which was apartheid South Africa with the emerald mines. So you know he's a kid with money, and you know granted he's made good like business investments. Like, you know, he took over he took over PayPal, and look how big PayPal got when, you know, after he took it over. The same thing with Tesla. And it's just like he's not innovative, he just has the money to make things more popular.
Or less popular.
Yeah, or less popular.
Yeah.
But
he's never done anything really himself. He didn't start Tesla either. No. Did you just say that?
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he bought Tesla, you know, after it was already off the ground. He bought SpaceX after it was already off the ground. He was dabbling in Hyperloop, which I'm wearing my Virginia Tech Hyperloop shirt. So, by the way,
your Elon shirt?
Yeah, no. SpaceX was. They were doing a program a few years back where they were trying to create magnetic levitation transport, the Hyperloop system. And, and they were he was giving away a bunch of grant money to different universities. And Virginia Tech was one of the schools that was in the competition. And they had, I don't know exactly what all they were doing with their build, but they were donated this cylinder that was a spherical cylinder that was used to store helium, and one of the aerospace companies donated it to them, and they were going to fill it full of I think it was full of nitrogen, and they were going to use it for their braking system, and they had to have it the cylinder pressure tested, and so they contacted us because we had the equipment to do it, and they're like, can you do this? And I'm like, I've never done this type of stuff before, but fuck it, bring it over, we'll see what happens. Yeah. So they brought it over, and we tested it and whatnot, and they were like, "Oh, do you want anything? Do we owe you anything?" And I'm like, "I got some stickers. If you'll put like some of our stickers on your machine that you're going to be using in Hyperloop, that's cool enough for us." So you know, we basically sponsored them. We had little sponsor stickers, and then they brought us some T-shirts. But yeah, it was really neat.
There
They
you go.
they ended up going to
So you support Elon Musk, is what you're saying?
well, that was back before I realized how much of a piece of shit he was. But
Oh,
I was also more I was more supporting Virginia Tech more than anything else.
oh, okay.
So, but we've done a lot
Did
of stuff.
he start the Boring Company? That one I think might be the only one, which is
I'm not
ironic, the
sure.
name of it. I think that one he actually started. Every other thing he's been involved with, he didn't actually start. He just had the money to grow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. According to this, he's the actual founder of the Boring Company.
And Philka's right. He is just he's a spoiled rich kid that's never been told no.
Yeah.
And
Well, the other problem is he has such an ego. He doesn't even think people don't like him. He's a lot like Trump in that way. So many people, and the loudest people, like him so much that he thinks everyone just likes him. He doesn't realize that no, most people don't actually
yeah,
like you.
well, both of them ascribe to the old adage of no publicity is bad publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
Um, as
Well,
long as
we'll see how that goes if Twitter's still around by
yeah.
the end of 2023.
Um, I mean, I think Twitter will continue to make it just because of there's so many organizations that have wrapped themselves into Twitter that it's
Yeah.
almost like the classic, too big to fail. I mean, if
Yeah.
you
Well,
look at what I mean, you have all the politicians have their Twitter accounts, and they push
yeah.
a lot of their information. That's the first place they push it is to Twitter. Same thing with
Yeah, all the
news.
CNN
Yeah,
and
news
news. Yeah.
organizations. And the first place they push information is to Twitter.
But you
So
can't do that now. That's illegal. You're doxing people's live locations.
well, yeah. Not only that, his latest whatever you want to call it is he's not going to allow posts that contain other social media platforms. You
Yeah, he
can't
took
talk
that
about
off.
you can't talk about Facebook. You can't talk about Mastodon or any of the other ones.
No, you can't. You can't link a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's link tree no longer work. A bunch of stuff. The main problem they have is exactly the same what we were just talking about Twitch and YouTube. Like the only reason people haven't really left Twitch isn't because Twitch is great. It's because Twitch is the best right now. Until somebody else creates another platform that's better, has the tools set up better, has the UI that makes sense, has a way to really engage with your community, whether it be live or through old stuff. Until somebody creates that, and with especially like with Twitter, Twitter's so unique. There's so many other sites that have tried. I don't like Mastodon or what's that other one?
Well,
Hex something something. Until somebody has a better platform, though, it's gonna be fine and stay on top.
and that's going to be the real hard part is you know platforms like Twitter or like Facebook. They've been around for so long. They're embedded in the
Yeah, well, and
in,
like YouTube too. That's
yeah.
like
I mean, even
so many people have tried to make a better YouTube and they haven't
it just yeah.
been able to take it over.
Right. I mean, I guess what surprised me long term was I remember when Google Plus came out and everybody was like, "Oh, this is how Facebook dies. Everyone's going to go to Google Plus."
Yeah,
You know,
and who's still here?
yeah. And I mean, and they've stopped supporting it. Google Plus is
Yeah.
gone. It's not even.
Facebook is slowly going away. With the newer generation doesn't use Facebook, so it's on its way out. We like our generation even barely uses Facebook. I still use it sometimes. I use Messenger more than anything. I barely use Facebook itself. I use
I
Messenger
I don't
just because it's better than DMing on Twitter.
I don't post all that often. But then again, I haven't really posted a lot on social media, any of the platforms, much at all over the last maybe couple of years.
I think that's why we don't have listeners.
And it
Q.
honestly could be. I mean, I can't tell you the last time we made a post to the Facebook.com/Pixpod.
Oh,
Even though
true.
that's a whole thing for us.
Yeah. We're gonna have to figure that out.
We
We're
need-
gonna have
we
to
need
do
to
Facebook.com/Mastodon or something.
Yeah. But another thing too that I've thought about, and I'll bring it up to you, is creating a Pigs Pod Twitch or a TikTok account that we
Yeah.
could upload and whatnot. Because I mean, I have a my own TikTok account, and I was planning on uploading stuff from my streaming and stuff, and I never do.
Yeah.
Because it was originally like, oh, I'm gonna post all my stuff that I do with the snakes and post those videos, and then I just stopped.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
bet I've barely used my TikTok either. The craziest part is like, at least the way I understand it, if you create a new account and you're consistent and upload a lot right away, you actually do way better in the algorithm than if you just try to do it from your account.
maybe that's what I'll do is I'll create a TikTok for Pigs Pod and try to upload make clips from like this show or clips from us playing and stuff like that. I don't know. I just
Oh,
I, that once again we're going above and beyond what we're doing. Um, yeah, well, Phil. Yeah,
yeah.
I
No.
got onto Facebook when it was the student use only, because I had my New River Community College email, the NR or the .edu. That's the only way you could get on is you had to have a .edu. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, and then they got really good at advertising Facebook and getting people on and
yeah, well,
completely shutting down MySpace. Remember, no, everyone thought MySpace would never fail.
I went
Who's
back.
going to go to Facebook? So that's the world we're at in now. Where we're in that same world when Facebook came out and MySpace was the big thing. Everyone had a fucking MySpace. Everyone's like, nobody's going to go to Facebook. Facebook's slowly going away. Twitter was the big thing, at least in my mind. Twitter's been a big thing for a few years. I've struggled to get people on it, which is the weirdest thing. I'm like, you don't have a Twitter? That's crazy. Like billions of people use it. It's where I get my news. I
Yeah,
get live fucking feedback and
I
instant news. Wow, did you see that earthquake or this or that? Like,
I don't post to Twitter very often. Like I even tonight I forgot to post that we were going live on Twitter. So I'm like, oh, I fucked up
oh,
again.
whoops.
But I'm just like you. Now I don't post to it, but I view it daily. I look at what's trending and stuff like that. When the Game
Yeah,
Awards came out, when all that was going down, and Rabbi Bill Clinton was trending and stuff like that.
yeah,
Stuff like that or
yeah. It scares me every time on Twitter a celebrity's name is trending. I'm like, oh
no, yeah,
no.
did they die? Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
Wait 1 sec. Just raising my chair up. All right, go ahead, Q.
Um, I when Osama bin Laden was killed in that raid, I
Yeah,
remember Twitter was going crazy
crying.
because yeah,
Oh,
well no
yeah.
Twitter was going crazy because somebody in the White House, like one of the staffers,
Oh yeah,
leaked.
weren't they like live like
What? No, they
out an hour after or some shit?
yeah,
Like,
an hour before Obama went on to give the speech, it leaked that something major happened and there's a huge announcement coming, and then like another staffer posted talking about it was going to be a huge announcement in the war on terror, and then before he even went on, he
yeah, Twitter knew about it.
Twitter knew about that they had killed bin Laden because while he was giving that speech about having killed Osama bin Laden, the people were outside the White House. Like they were celebrating and cheering and waving flags and shit outside the White House before he even made
Yeah.
the announcement. And
Yeah, it was Hunter Biden from his laptop.
I'm I am so over that. Like it's one of the,
Hillary sent him an email.
yeah. I am so over it because the only thing that we've really learned about Hunter Biden and his laptop is
That he has one?
what his fucking dick looks like. Like that's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
number one thing that they found on the laptop.
I
Was
don't think I've
pictures
seen that. You're Googling different things than I am.
is what it is. But
Hunter Biden laptop leaks.
yeah,
Like,
have fun with that. But yeah, I'm so over that. Like I don't care. I would
that's been
have.
my favorite part of like Twitter. At least it's been slightly different. Elon took over, but it's still really like the way the algorithm works. It shows me all the people that mostly agree with what I say, and it's been fucking great. It's mostly shit. Elon's been really fucking with the algorithms and the stuff in the back end, trying to get it to where it doesn't do that, and it shows me his fucking dumb shit that he keeps talking about. But for the most part, Twitter's algorithms are really good at showing you. Uh, I remember when they first changed it too. It used to only show you who you followed, and that was it.
Yeah. And now it gives you
It was
like
like Facebook.
suggestions.
Yeah, and then Facebook changed and started showing you a news feed of like a bunch of suggested stuff, and then Twitter did it, and Twitter did it so much better. It was way better than Facebook. Facebook was just trying to advertise to you. Twitter was trying to know who you are. Kind of like how TikTok's For You page is really good at showing you the stuff that you want to see.
I've been getting TikToks in my For You page
Of
of
Hunter's dick.
yeah of of like location based TikToks, like people talking about, oh, this is what it's like to grow up in my hometown, and their hometown is the town I'm living in.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of
Like
those the
that's
last like month or
yeah,
so.
like like I've never, nothing on my TikTok says that I live where I live, but it's still
Oh, they
popping
know.
up. It's like
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. Like those have
No, they
popped
know.
up. Heather made a mention in the last night or 2 nights ago that a girl that she used to work with showed up on her For You page. Like they're making some type of TikTok. I don't know what she was making, but it was
Does
just
she
like,
still live near you guys?
I don't know. But I just thought that was really interesting. She's like, I don't have any affiliations with her. She was just a coworker,
No,
and
no, they know about
yeah.
you. That's why one a thing I saw on Facebook a few days made me laugh so hard. Like it was this guy that I know that I fly drones with sometimes. Not for a while. I haven't flown my drone in a while. But anyways, he put up a thing of him taking his 23andMe test, and being as it is on Facebook, somebody posted on there, I could never take one of those. I just don't trust what they would do with my data. It just made me laugh. Like number one, you're posting that from your phone
Yeah.
onto Facebook.
Oh, but it's the same argument that I've had with people, um, that I've had with like family members. Heather's dad is very right wing, and
Yeah.
he doesn't. He does this whole thing like, where he lives, like I live in the most remote area that I can live, and
Do you have a phone?
yeah, I'm getting there.
No.
I'm getting there. And he's like, I don't want to be online. I don't want I don't want to be tracked on social media and all that. And then everywhere he goes, he has his phone. Everywhere.
So he used Google?
Oh yeah. And then, but what I think is funny is like his favorite thing to do is he's got a solitaire game on his phone, and I bet you he's got 1,000 hours in this solitaire game. And
Yeah.
we got to talking about it, and I went onto went into the app and looked at all the information in the the Play Store about that app. It tracks your data. Like
Yeah.
it tracks.
probably tracks
yeah,
location.
It does. It tracks your location. It was one of those ones.
If it's serving up advertisements, it probably tracks all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
and I'm sitting here going like, you are going to be tracked no matter what you do, and
Yeah.
like, once you make that realization, you can kind of try to protect yourself the best as you can, but you just kind of have to accept your fate. That's
Yeah.
the price of being on the internet, is knowing that
Well,
they're
there-
going to have your data.
Exactly. There's two things that like the boomer generation don't understand. Number one, you're gonna be tracked. There's no way to get away from it. Like you just said, it's happening. So you look like a fool when you're like, I don't take my 23andMe because they'll use my data for what? What are they gonna use your DNA data?
Yeah,
The stuff you searched on Google alone. Google has more information than 23andMe would ever get from your saliva.
and you voluntarily give
two-
it up. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. By just using Google to search what you hit, they
Yeah.
now have all your data. Number two, you're not that important.
Right. That was the other.
Google's not
They don't
Google's
care.
not tracking your information because they're like, I wonder what Joe's up today. They're tracking your information so they can sell shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the thing too, is they have that information, and that was what the Edward Snowden leaks were really really big when it came out that the NSA and the government, they have your data. They know where you
Yeah.
are. They can track it. But the difference of it is they're not tracking you in real time. They don't care
No.
what you're doing. Now, if you decide that you're going to go on a murder spree and or whatever, they can then go in and pull your information up and track you and whatnot.
Well, they can go through your archive of recorded phone calls that they have on you
Yeah,
that flagged certain keywords and that stored it in a mega database of phone calls, and they
right.
can go look you up.
But they have to
Like,
go actively pull that information up. There's nobody that's like sitting. There's nobody sitting at a computer screen and is waiting for you to say something. You know,
yeah.
it's not. That's not the way it works. The information's being gathered. It's sitting in a database for them to go
Yeah.
and pull from it if they choose to or they need to.
By everyone. The funny part
Yeah,
is like Android is owned by Google. Google lets all the apps do all the stuff and everything, but all the Apple people go, not me. No, Apple too.
Apple too.
Apple just as much.
Yeah, but
They're the same people that say they don't take. I don't take the 23andMe, and I only use Apple because I don't want to be tracked. I got bad news for you.
yeah, yeah. But
They've seen your dick pic. They saved it. It's saved to the cloud.
well, you know, and Rabble says that TikTok is 100% spying on us. Have you seen that there's an active and a legitimate push in Congress that they're going to get TikTok banned from the United States? Like
Oh, they're trying really hard.
it's a real possibility. I
The other problem is enforcing that, because then the only way to enforce it is through ISPs.
yeah,
But there's so many ISPs now, and a lot of them don't care to follow rules. Comcast is a very big one that doesn't care about following rules.
right.
Like Comcast, if they catch you doing illicit stuff or like illegal stuff or like downloading torrents or movies or whatever, they'll give you notifications, but they don't turn you off. You're paying them monthly, and most ISPs are the same way. You're paying them monthly. They're not going to shut off your service and stop making money from you.
Yeah. Oh, I've gotten nasty grams from Comcast, not Comcast. Who was ours? Yeah, I think it was Comcast. That when I was downloading torrents and whatnot, and they're like, "Oh, we know you're doing this, and this is a crime, and you shouldn't be doing it." I'm like, first off, the
Yeah.
crime is uploading, so I don't seed my torrents. Shocking.
Yeah.
But this thing with TikTok is, I mean, it's a right wing push, which is not a surprise because 90, I would say, well, maybe not that much. We'll say 70% of the TikTok user base is left of center, or somewhere in that realm. So of course they're going to be upset with it that it's not giving them the fair shake they think they deserve. But I mean, and then it was when Donald Trump, when he was running for president in 2016, he was
Yeah.
he had this thing where you had to buy tickets to, you didn't buy them, but you had to go in and reserve the tickets to go into it. That there was some group of kids on TikTok that got together and
Oh, that was hilarious.
yeah,
And they bought up all his tickets, so
that's-
only
it was like
5,000 people or something showed up to
Yeah.
this like 90,000 people event. And that the funniest part too is afterwards, all the news coverage and everything of it was really close in shots, and they showed the little bit of audience that was there, so it looked like it was full.
Right.
And then people on like TikTok and Twitter showing like the
The
real what it
actual-
actually
yeah.
was.
and that's some of the reasons why they're so upset with TikTok, because they're not,
Yeah.
they think that they're being treated poorly by TikTok itself, when it's really the users just don't fucking like you.
Yeah.
And
No, that's the thing. I saw well, two things. Like Phil just said, a lot of people don't use a cell phone because they don't want to be found or tracked. They just use their computer. Yeah, even if you're not on social media or Facebook or Twitter or any of them, even if you just use your Google account, just a Gmail, just check your email and that's it.
Yeah.
Just through your Gmail and what you search and look up, every website you go to, have you heard of cookies? When you go on there and you say accept cookies, you're giving them access to all your information that Google has saved, and Google tells them everything about you. You're being tracked just because you're so smart and off the grid because you don't have a cell phone. The only thing you could do is literally not get on the internet on any device.
you would have to be completely devoid of any form of online use, and that even would go as far as watching TV, and you're watching satellite. You know,
Yeah, they track you with that. What shows you watch, how long you watch it.
you would have to be 100%. I
A
mean,
loser.
well, yeah. Um, I would say the only thing that you might be able to get away with,
Amish. Amish
yeah,
probably aren't tracked.
no,
Well, they're
probably not.
still tracked by satellite, but
Yeah. Which, ironically, I follow a couple of former Amish people that talk about life in being Amish or what life was
yeah,
like as
which
Amish. And
yeah, from everything I've heard, is not that great.
no, it sounds terrible.
Yeah,
Or just, and not just the whole like the low hanging fruit stuff, like, oh, you can't use electricity and you can't have a car, but it's more like you have zero say unless you're the oldest person in the group. You know,
yeah.
you don't get a
Well,
say in
like
anything.
no, like Phil just said, even though you can't, they say you can turn off tracking. There's no way you can turn off tracking. So the only thing it does is when you say "don't track me," is it erases you as a profile, but it doesn't erase you as a data point.
Right.
In the collection of when they go, how many 30-year-olds have watched Game of Thrones? You'll be in that data point. But when they sell you, it's a weird thing. There's a whole California law, the California stupid fucking
Hmm.
Security Privacy Act thingy majigger. There's a whole thing, but they can't sell you as a profile and go, here's this
User.
customer
Yeah.
that likes this and this and this and this. Here's what you could advertise to them.
Right.
But they can include you as like it's a weird
Yeah.
thing.
It's
It's stupid.
the micro data versus the metadata.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, it's. I mean, even like another example. This is a conversation going back to Heather's dad. It's like if you buy a car, and you buy it from a larger dealer, and you are making payments on it. They put a tracker in your car.
Yeah.
There's the low jack is there. If they need to um, if they need to find you so they can repo it, it's there. They can track you down. You know,
Not if you turn your wheels. That's my favorite part. How hard some people will try to not get their shit stolen, but they won't pay their bill.
yeah,
If you didn't pay their bill, they're gonna take it. Not fucking. I put it in gear and I put the brake and I turn the wheel and I park it on a curb. They do all this fucking shit.
yeah,
It does nothing.
no, but stuff like that. They can track you. They can track you that way. Like there's just you pretty much have to live off the grid
Well, just
in your own
using a
home.
credit card.
Yeah,
Using a credit card, you're now tracked. When you buy stuff at the grocery store, if you use one of the membership thingies, they use that data to sell and track what customers are buying and what's selling and what's not, so they can decide what to buy and how many to buy. And you're tracked all over the place.
yeah. I think
And
that
again, you're not that important. Nobody's actually cares what the fuck John is looking at.
no,
They just want to know what I can sell. I want to know what I can sell, John. I don't give a shit
yeah.
his name is John. I just want to know what I can sell to
I
John.
I will admit that when it comes to like the social medias and their advertisements, I've never bought anything because of a Facebook advertisement. I've never bought anything from any other social media platform with the
Yeah.
exception of TikTok.
I've only
I have
it's
bought
only
more
worked
shit.
on me for like food.
Okay.
Food's the only one where like a new Taco Bell thing will be out and I'll see it and I go, fuck, that looks good.
But then on the other hand, if you didn't see that ad, you're still
I
you're,
might have found out about,
yeah, well, you're
about
still
it
going to go. I
anyways,
mean,
but
if you eat, let's say you eat at Taco Bell once a week,
yeah.
with or without
How
that
do you know?
ad,
Are you tracking my data? How do you know?
Because I fucking eat there once a week too. I know. But I'm going to go to the eat at that place once a week,
Yeah.
and if I see that the nacho fries are back, I'm not going to go and make an extra trip to Taco Bell. I'm just going to go to Taco Bell my next trip to Taco Bell, knowing I'm getting some nacho fries.
Yeah.
But let's see, I had a, oh yeah, on with TikTok.
I've never seen like a cat scratcher that will go, oh shit, and then buy it through TikTok. That's shady as fuck.
Well-
You're dumb. You're stupid if you buy stuff through advertisements like that. Number one,
Well, I must be
and
a
then
fucking
wonder why it never shows up.
Oh no, okay, that's true. That is, I'll give you that. But no, there was a dog harness that I saw on TikTok. That was the main reason why I bought it. Is it was cheap. It was like $15,
Yeah.
and it came
No
with
kink shaming. You
yeah
buy whatever you want
yeah.
of that stuff.
But it came with patches that were Velcro to put on the sides of the harness that you could customize and put your dog's name and your phone number underneath it in case the dog got loose or something. And I thought that was really cool because it was all customizable. You could put it on.
Yeah.
You could even, it was Velcroed, and they would sell you different patches. Like if you had only one harness but had different dogs, you could put the different Velcro patches on for the. So I thought it was really cool. So I bought that. And then,
Did you buy it through that link though?
Yeah, I bought it through the link.
Oh,
yeah.
see,
The
I've
Shop
had
Now.
I've had a couple times where I've seen something like that and go, "Oh, that's cool." Then I go to Google and I look up the thing and find it on my own. I'm not following those links. Like,
No, no. If I have to do the extra step of going somewhere else to no, if I have to leave, if I have to leave if I have to leave that site or that social media platform and go search it, I'm just going to go to Amazon and buy it.
oh,
Yeah.
see, sometimes I go to Amazon. Sometimes, depending how quick I need it, I'll go to AliExpress. I'll
Mm.
buy it for a tenth of the price if I
Yeah.
don't need it for a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but
There was, and then for Christmas, I mean, I don't know if she can hear me or not, so I'm not going to say it. But there was something that she saw on TikTok. I was like, oh, I
oh,
really want one of those. And then I
did
was
she
like,
send it to you?
no, no,
Oh,
I,
you were just there and
yeah,
saw it.
yeah, I was. I think we were watching on my phone and she saw it, and I'm like, okay.
Oh,
And then like the next time it showed up as a sponsored ad, I clicked through and bought it, and that'll be one of her
Yeah.
Christmas presents. But yeah, little stuff like that. I
I
mean,
hope you know they tracked you when you bought that.
yeah, I mean,
They know about you now.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I know that no matter what you try to do, they're going to track you down on the internet. So
Yeah. Well,
I
again, even if you
exist.
just use email,
Yeah,
most email platforms, Hotmail, Gmail, whatever, even within your email, in your inbox, fucking advertise to you in there.
yeah, yeah. And I noticed that too, and I never look at it. I
Oh, I
never.
don't click on those. I
Yeah.
immediately get rid of them. Google's like, "Why didn't you like that ad?" And I go, "Cause it was a fucking ad. That's why."
Yeah, I've got the promotional tab on Gmail, and I probably got 1,000 promotional ads on that site. I just never do anything with it because I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
care.
fucking.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, all we're saying is that let's see, what are we saying? Bill Clinton won Game of the Year.
yeah, that's true.
He's a rabbi. Number two, we're the best podcast around.
True,
Numbers don't mean anything. Quality means everything.
exactly.
And
Quality over quantity
just
here at Pigs Pod.
just because I'm still sick and extra nasally, and my chair
Yeah, donate to Oreo's cheer fund.
keeps sliding down. Look how much taller I am when I fucking put the chair up. I gotta move my mic back up.
You'll need to. You're going to start getting promoted ads now for gaming chairs. Now that we've been talking about
Yeah,
it.
well, I'm not gonna buy any one other than this because before I got this one, I bought 3 different ones and they all fucking sucked and hurt my back.
The-
And I can't remember what I did with them. Did I throw them away? Give them? I can't remember.
Well,
I went through several chairs.
this one that I have, the Ivaco or whatever it is, when they came out, I bought it because it's got the adjustable up and down, and then I can lean the chair back and forward.
Oh yeah,
And I bought that. I paid like $100 for it. I'm like, that's a reasonable price for a gaming chair. And as soon as I bought it, I mean, the week that it arrived on my doorstep,
yeah. You regret it?
no, another ad came out. That
for
was
more
literally
gaming chairs?
It was for the same chair, but it came with a lumbar support that had a heated lumbar and
man.
like a back massaging feature. And
The same price?
hang on, not there
Oh,
yet.
okay. I'm
And-
getting excited.
Yeah, and it came with like the a footrest that slid out from the bottom of it.
When are you gonna use a footrest? What kind of gaming are you doing?
The reason why I know this is I ended up buying one for Heather.
Oh,
It
so
was
you stole the footrest? Okay.
the exact same chair, except it had the lumbar and the footrest. I paid $99 for mine. Hers was $89. So she got
For
like
all the extra
for all
stuff.
the extra stuff, and it was $10 cheaper. And I'm just like,
Those are my favorite when you buy
motherfucker.
some on Amazon and you see the advertisement for a week later,
Yeah,
and it's like $30 less, and you're like, you fuckers, you know I bought that. You tracked my information and just to rub it into my face.
yeah, that's the yeah. They just rub it in knowing that it happened. But no, that's this gaming chair, and I've actually been quite happy with it. I think it's starting to lose some of the padding in the seat.
Yeah, that's my. The thing I figured out, uh, and this isn't the case always, but the thing that I learned, most gaming chairs are fucking garbage and they're not comfy. You're better off getting an office chair that has a gaming chair aesthetic.
Yeah, yeah,
Because the gaming chairs are just gimmicky, fucking. Look at this! It's got race wheels and
yeah.
fucking it's pinstriped, and you're like, okay, but does it hurt my back? It's pinstriped, and you're like,
But
that's
I
what I
mean,
thought.
once again, this is coming back to the gamer dads because we think about these things now. You know,
Yeah,
if
well, that's true.
if we were
Yeah,
19, the race wheels
my
would have
son
been
wants the
amazing.
game. Yeah, my son wants the racing wheel, fucking pinstripe gaming chair. I'm like, well, I guess it's not gonna hurt your back. You're only fucking 10, but when you get to be my age and your body's falling apart,
Well,
you need a chair that doesn't hurt you to try and play games.
it's so true. Oh yeah, and like I was literally coming
Yeah,
to that.
built-in
The
speakers.
built-in
Oh
speakers,
yeah.
which sounds great, but every game I play, I use a headset. So
You know what I miss when I was a kid? My gaming chair. I don't know if this is what they're actually called. This is just what my family called them, the banana chairs.
I know
Do you
exactly.
remember the
Yep,
banana
yeah, I
chairs?
know exactly what you're
It's
talking
it's
about.
just like an arched piece of wood with fabric stapled to it and like buttons in it.
Yeah,
They call it banana chair. You just sat on the floor.
yep.
You were like 6 inches off of the floor and you could rock. Dude, that's what I gamed in from like
I had
fuck
one.
from like 6 to like 15 years old. I had fucking one tan like beige fucking banana chair that I'd just fucking sit on the floor in front of the TV and game on for years.
I had one briefly. I used it for like a week, and I it wasn't comfortable. You know, my TV set up higher than it to the point where I was basically sitting here looking straight up, and it just wasn't comfortable. And I made a comment. My mom asked me when I was maybe 13 what I wanted for Christmas, and I was like, I would love a chair for that I can play while I game, like some type of gaming chair or office chair or something. And
Yeah.
and she told my grandfather, and he bought me this like base office chair that it had the up and down, and you could rotate. The seat would rock or whatever. You could lock it for that, and it was just fabric covered. It was just a plain Jane fabric, very very bottom of the line chair. I still have that chair. That
Yeah.
chair, when I started working in an office setting, my first office job, I brought that chair with me to work. That was the chair I used, and
Yeah.
the chair that I have now in my office today, still that chair. That
That
chair
chair.
is
Yeah. It's still well put together.
still well put together. It's like
Because
formed into my
fucking
ass.
capitalism.
Like it is the second or the second piece of furniture or second possession that I've had longer than just anything else. The thing that I've had the longest in my life, I've got a dresser that I've had since I was a kid. That's gone with me every move that I've ever made, and it's still the dresser that I use to this day. And then the second item is this office chair.
That chair.
Yeah, that he probably bought it for $50, and I've stuck with it. I love it. It's just I'll never get rid of it. And
Yeah.
then now
They just don't. They
don't
don't
make
build
'em-
shit like they
they
used
don't
to.
make them like they used
Which,
to.
which is absolutely true. They don't. They
Sure.
literally don't. I always knew it was true that they didn't build shit like they used to, and then I saw, because they track my data and YouTube knows that I'm into that kind of shit. I saw a mini documentary on YouTube about light bulbs and how they don't build light bulbs like they used to.
Right.
And it was all about this. Like it starts out this firehouse that has a light bulb that was turned on back in like 1923,
Yep.
and it's been on for like 2 million hours.
Never
The
been
same
turned
exact
off.
light bulb,
Yep,
never been turned off.
I know the story you're talking about.
Yeah, and how light bulb manufacturers were freaking out because they were selling light bulbs and then nobody would buy them again because they worked too fucking good. And so they had to make shittier light bulbs and then shittier and shittier. And then there's kind of an up and down for how shitty can I make it to where people don't want it and how good I can make it. And then there was a whole committee that I forget what it's called. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The committee that had to make the rules for how many hours you can have your light bulb work before you're going to get fined by the committee.
Right. Well, I think it also
All these manufacturers got together and said 3,600 hours as long as you can have your light bulb works. If it works longer than that, you get fined because that's bad for our business. So
I noticed too that when it comes to light bulbs, they say that if you it's not the leaving them, it's not their like leaving them on and the hours they have on them was what makes them fail. It's the turning off and then turning back on that repeated is what supposedly makes them fail. But
don't put this on me. We're talking about the manufacturers.
That's what I've always heard. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
No,
but,
that they did talk about that in the documentary too. That is part of it. That's why that one it's been left on since it's been on for 100 years or whatever. It's never been turned off. And the turning it on and off, the heating and the expanding, and then the cooling of the materials and the on and off. Yeah, it's not good for it. But at the same time, they literally don't make things like they used to because it's not good for business if you make shit that lasts too long.
I've switched all of my light bulbs. Trying to think. I think the light bulb that I have in my lamp. Yeah,
that's the word, Phil. Yeah. Planned obsolescence.
Yeah. With the exception of the bulb that I have in my desk lamp here, every light bulb in the house is LED.
Yeah, I think 90% of mine are.
Yeah.
Those still fell too, but
they
don't run as hot and they're running on less power, so whatever. Hold on, let me fix my chair.
Yeah.
I wish they build chairs better like they used to. Fuck.
But no, that was the thing when LEDs 5 or 6 years ago, when they were becoming kind of reasonable in price. I spent
they went up. I remember when I first bought my first, and I was like, oh, I'm going to convert all it was like $2 for a box of LED bulbs. I was like, oh shit. Now they're like $8 for a box of LED bulbs.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, they're realizing that they're lasting a lot longer, so they've got to make money.
Yeah, so they had to raise the price.
Yeah. But
they're probably shittier now too.
Yeah, probably. The place we used to live in, when we first moved in there, the first year I spent like every month or so I would buy like a couple of LED bulbs and swap out bulbs across the house until I got rid of everything. And then here, most of the some of the light bulbs here when we moved in were LEDs, and I've slowly replaced lights here to LEDs. But I did it just because I like the idea of having LEDs because I'm fascinated by LEDs.
Cool.
I didn't do it for any other
reason. It's cooler
reason.
sounding.
Yeah. But the only problem then you have the argument of what type of LED do you like? Like what's better, the true white or the
Well, it depends where you put it.
Yeah.
And how long it's on and this and that are you there at night or are you there in the day? Blah blah. Yeah. There's a whole thing to it. I think it's all preference. Don't follow whatever they say.
It's 100% preference. And me and one of my coworkers, we've argued for years over what's the better LED, the yellow whites, or I call it the institutional white, the one that are just really like it's what I have in here is the institutional white. I don't like it. Like I don't like that color. I like the more
white or white.
The yellow white color. That's basically
the more orangey, natural. Like it looks like old light bulbs used to look.
Yeah. I prefer that than to the institutional white. But yeah, and then you got the smart bulbs and
well, that's what this pink bulb is right here. It's a smart bulb. I hook up to my phone and tell it to turn pink, tell it how bright it is and whatnot. All the different bulbs. It's funny we're talking about light bulbs. But all we're saying is they don't make podcasts like they used to.
No, they don't make them like they used to. But no, I want to do some. I want to do some of the Wi-Fi light bulbs and to change the colors and the dim stuff. But it's so far down on my list of
It's
things I want to do.
expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Some of them are like $20 a bulb, and then you think, "Fuck, I got a lot of bulbs in
Well,
here."
you don't think about that when you don't think about how many you actually have in your house until you're trying to replace them. And you're like, "Fuck, I got that many."
Yeah.
Or the worst is like in the lights over your in your bathroom that are like over the sink. You might have like 4 or 5 bulbs in the little.
Yeah, but they're the big ones.
Yeah, they're
The
either the
different
big
ones.
ones or the little ones. Or when we lived at the last place, there was a light fixture over top of the sink in the kitchen that had, I think it was 4 bulbs in it, but they were real small, and I switched them out to LEDs because they were way cheaper. Um,
Well, yeah, some of those older ones, those odd styles are now getting super expensive. So you're again cheaper for LEDs, but
and I've seen Twitches that do that, or people that where you can make changes to the person's room while you're watching and making donations. I think it's a great idea. I mean,
no, there's some cool shit you can do with Twitch chats and whatnot, and redeem channel points. That's the word I'm looking for.
all right.
We're not that sophisticated though.
No, fuck no. All right. What's your cream of the week? I actually have one this week.
Oh, I do too. Uh, it was kind of along the line of a lot of shit has happened since we last did a podcast. Because I don't think we talked about it last podcast because it had just come out.
Okay.
Hold on. I need to raise my chair up, but I'm gonna just let it ride. Can you see how low I'm getting? Just gonna let it ride. We'll see if I dip down below. Chat GPT and AI has gotten pretty ridiculous. I've been really dabbling in it the last week or so. The amount of shit you can do with AI is insane. All the artists, especially on Twitter, are really fighting and having a tough time with AI. And it just reminds me of like every new technology that comes out. Everyone naturally as humans we're resistant to change,
Right.
so nobody likes it. Everyone, okay, sorry, not nobody likes it. Half the people fucking love it, and half the people fucking hate it for
Right.
various different reasons. But I think it's amazing, and we're looking at this is going to be one of those things that is going to be a swing in the world where we're at the beginning of things changing in the future. This is going to be AI, which we've known about for a long time.
Right.
But this level of sophistication of AI
and
is just
ease of and the broad access that the common person has. Like,
hold on, Kim.
the AI that you're messing with, like with the Chat GPT. That technology has been around for a long time, but
Yeah, well, even
it's
that
now
specific
yeah.
algorithm has been around for 2.5 years. It was just they altered it so it's more user friendly and can do the back and forth chat. So
And
if you haven't heard of it,
it's really cool.
it's called Chat GPT. It uses their AI called DaVinci, which you can also still access. But the difference, most AI, the way it has worked and why this one's so revolutionary, most AI, you give it a prompt or a question or a piece of information, and then you ask it, you know, explain this to me, or give me this image, or take this audio and make it do this or whatever, which is great. That's fantastic being able to have AI just make your life so much simpler. The difference with this Chat GPT is it's all text. It doesn't do images or whatever. It's all text. But the difference is now you can have a back and forth and you can have a continuation.
And
You can give it something. Yeah, you can give it something and say, you know, I could literally say, which I did. I said, give me a good sounding intro for the Pigs Pod Politically Incorrect Gaming podcast. And it gave me, a decent intro and said, hey, you could possibly say this. And then I can go back to it and say, can you alter that so it doesn't sound fucking dorky and make it sound cooler? And Chat GPT would go, oh, sure, here's another version.
Yeah.
And you could go forever. You could say, could you make it sound more professional as if it's for a news radio? And then it would alter it and change it. And it can remember. And on the last update they did, which I don't know the last time Q's looked at it, But
I
they
used it a
announced,
couple of days ago.
oh, well, they announced in their next version coming up, they're looking at a way to actually view past conversations that you had
Hmm.
and be able to have chat
Yeah.
comment on that stuff that you've had in the past. Basically, when you log in with your account, it'll remember stuff that you guys talked about a week ago. And you can be like, hey, remember when I talked about that the blueberries?
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Do something with it.
exasperate on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But like
and
it's insane the back and forth. Like,
well, I used it. I used it basically the same thing that you were using it for that I discovered it was to create give it prompts for creation of a D&D character.
yeah.
And what
And it'll
I
do that. It'll
yeah,
give you the filled out sheet if you want.
well, yeah, it gave you your stats, it gave everything, and then it gave me a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me. I asked it like you did. I asked it for an encounter. You know, create a situation that this character is in and tell me about it. And it did all of that, and I was just like, wow, this has such amazing potential. And I was watching maybe in the last day or so, I've came across a couple of TikToks that were from teachers, and teachers are
Mm-hmm.
having a hell of a time with it because kids are they're being told, oh,
It'll do their homework for
yeah,
them.
yeah, they need to write a paper about a topic, and then the kids will go into Chat GPT and say, I'm in 10th grade, I'm taking 10th grade English, and I have to write a story about the allegories of Dante's Inferno. I need it to be 5,000 words, and she does it for them.
Yeah, it'll give it to them.
It gives it to them.
Yeah, a bunch of schools have blocked Chat GPT, so you can't use it while you're in school.
Yeah,
Even though you can just pull out your phone on your own personal,
right. What
your
they
phone's network
the
and
the,
use
the
it.
the TikTok that I was watching was it was an informational TikTok on how teachers can look at it. There's certain ways that Chat GPT writes and the way it writes and how it uses
Oh,
words and
I
whatnot.
asked Chat GPT how if there's a way you could tell when AI has written something, and Chat GPT fucking ratted itself out and said, "Oh, absolutely, you can
Yeah,
tell when AI has written something. It follows, this certain pattern and this and that." But the great thing about Chat GPT, after it writes you something, if you're a smart student, you will say, "Can you rewrite this with less of the repeated pattern fucking
yeah.
garbage that you just gave me? Because that was awful, Chat GPT." Also, you can talk badly to it and treat it like shit and not say sorry. I've seen a lot of people. Hold on, let me raise my. I've seen a lot of people online going, "I just feel bad for ChatGPT because no one is saying please to it."
I
The
do.
craziest part about it is like
Everything I say, can you please do this?
we've barely tapped the potential of this. I seen a TikTok of a doctor that said he had a patient come in, he diagnosed the patient, gave him a prescription, everything, and left. And then he was like, I wonder if ChatGPT could do it. So he typed in, the patient's name and his medical history and said, they got a history of health complications and this and that. And literally Chat GPT broke down and diagnosed exactly the correct information. Like three back and forths of the doctor saying, all right, what if he has this, swollen this or whatever. Chat GPT was like, oh, that is probably that. Like, and the doctor's like, it's scary. He's like, I'm not telling you to diagnose yourself through Chat GPT. But
But you
the
could.
craziest part about it, which depending how deep you dive into Chat GPT, it is not connected to the internet. It was trained on 45 terabytes of text data back in late 2019.
Yeah.
Their DaVinci model, they fed 45 terabytes of text data, which for those non-nerdy, people, text data, let's say the entire works of Shakespeare in text data is probably like 300 megabytes,
Yeah, if that.
if that. So you're saying 45 terabytes of text data. That's fucking everything. And the craziest part about ChatGPT is it understands in context other languages. It understands coding languages. You can literally get on ChatGPT and say, "Can you write me a Python script that when I hit go, it'll go on YouTube and randomly comment on videos or whatever?" Like, it it, it understands languages in context. I seen somebody that said his
Testicular
wife's
cancer, rebel.
his yeah, that's it, testicular cancer. Right? I saw a guy that said his wife speaks a different native language that he only sort of knows. He used Chat GPT to write her a poem in her native language, and she read
Wow.
it, and it was totally like it made sense in her language. You know how like Google is awful at translating
Hmm.
because Google just looks at the words. It's not using artificial intelligence to understand it in context.
Right.
So sometimes the translations are awful. Chat GPT has been trained in every language, at least most languages, as far as I know, including coding languages. But it looks at it in context. Like it's just fucking insane. I did the same thing. I had it create me a character for our latest D&D campaign, and then I had it create me a backstory, and then I didn't like that one, so I had it create me a different one that was better, and then the backstory was so good that I liked the character so much that now I'm working on a short little chapter book of that character, which Q knows about,
I think it's great.
and I'm having Chat GPT help me. I call him Chad, so I don't have to say Chat GPT. I'm having Chad help me write the book, and basically all I'm doing, I'm not having him write the book. I'll get to a point where I go,
Where should we go next?
where should we go next? And I'll give Chad a little thing, and I'll say what could happen from here. And a lot of the time, the way I talk to him, I always give him like, give me some options of what could happen from here. And he goes, sure. Here's like 5 options. And I go, oh, that's so fucking all right, Chad. And then I'll get back to writing because
Mm.
like the ability, if you use it correctly, like
Its potential is
its
scary.
potential is fucking insane. But
I,
the craziest one that like blew me away, well, the whole thing's blown me away. But my wife was doing some homework for like her accounting class, her college accounting class, and she had a question, and I was at work at the time. She texted me, "Hey, I got this question. It wants to know what the return on investment would be on a house that had a 5% if growth over 10 years was 9%, or like blah, blah. It had all these percentages and something and a starting rate and everything. And I literally just copied her message and gave it to Chad. And he said, oh, well, over that rate, you would times this by this. He explained what you would do, and then he gave me the solution, and then he explained why that was the solution. And so I just copied all that and sent it back to my wife, and she sent me back, it was a multiple choice answer for that thing she was looking at, and the closest one, we had actually figured out the teacher that wrote the test had mistyped a number, because when you do the math, it was actually like 530,830, and the teacher put 530,530. And I was like, I'm gonna assume that's what she meant, but she put it wrong because I'm gonna trust Chad on this one that he did the math right, and your teacher did it wrong. But like, it's crazy. It literally just took the question that I gave it, broke it down, why and what you're doing, and gave the correct answer. Like, yeah, the potential is insane. Teachers are freaking out. I seen a lawyer that asked it questions, and again, that's questionable because it's trained on 2019 knowledge if laws have changed. So don't go to ChatGPT and diagnose yourself or ask it questions as if you're a lawyer, but you can.
well,
They,
it even says in the beginning part of going in and doing and using Chad is it tells
yeah,
you like it has limited knowledge of current events.
yeah.
Um, you know,
Well, they've also updated it quite a few times since it's come out, literally like 10 days ago. I think it released on November 30th. So, all right, 18 days ago. To where it's less like it's a lot harder to get certain answers out of it.
right?
If you try to get like nefarious things out of it, or if you try to ask it opinions,
Oh yeah, it doesn't do opinions, and it's very
it
clear
doesn't
it
do
doesn't do
opinion. If
opinions.
you tell me, if I go like, why is John a piece of shit? It'll instead of answering me, it'll go, I'm just an artificial intelligence. I can't comment on such things.
Well, the first time I used it, and my very first question to it was, "How you doing?" And its immediate response was like, I am an artificial intelligence program to do whatever it said. I have no knowledge of what doing well means, and
Yeah,
I don't have the capacity to have feelings, and I was like, oh. okay, fine. Like, um, is every, how's your circuits today? And it
The
basically gave me the
the
same response. Um,
the thing that a lot of people have figured out that have like really been diving into it and messing with it, you can basically train it because it remembers all the stuff you're talking about. Right now, it only remembers in your current session.
right.
When it can remember everything when you're in your account, that's going to be fucking crazy.
Yeah,
But
it
a lot of
is.
people have learned you can tell it, like when it gives you that response of, "Oh, I'm just artificial intelligence." I don't know. You can literally teach it. You can say, "Respond to me as if you're an English teacher," or "Respond to me as if you are, a Victorian in the Victorian times,
Right.
and respond to me in Old English." You can literally tell it to ignore your artificial intelligence bullshit and fucking, you know,
Work off a certain
entertain
piece.
me.
Yeah. I
You
was
can tell it what to do and how to respond. Like,
well. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna use the ultimate segue. I think the best segue we've ever had for cream of the week.
oh, well, before you segue, I want to say one more. I
All right.
learned that Chad to run is costing them about $1 million a day because the amount of computing power that it
Wow.
takes, they have a ton of servers that they're using on a Azul that is running this. And apparently, Microsoft has given them a technology grant. Microsoft's covering a brunt of that, a good amount of that.
Cool.
But yeah, OpenAI uh,
It's
is
huge.
spending about $1 million a day running all these servers and these GPUs and CPUs computing. Because when you type it in, it takes one GPU about a minute to process like one word of what you've said.
Wow.
So that's the amount of people. There's a few million users using it. You think all that processing power because it feeds you back an answer immediately.
Yeah, it's
You're
really
not
really
having to
fast.
wait. Yeah. So it's costing about $1 million a day to run it. They're assuming that's going to go up. So a lot of people are wondering how long it's going to be free, and a lot of people have also said, "I don't give a shit. I will pay for it. Let me know when I can sign up."
Yeah. Oh, I was blown away when I started messing with it, and it's when Smokey was using it to write his backstory, and we were working on creating his character,
Yeah.
and one of the features of his character was you have a letter from a colleague that has a question that you don't have an answer for, and that was the prompt. And you didn't even have to specify what it was. But I told Smokey, I was like, "What does that letter say? Let's role play it out. Let's figure out what does it say." He goes, "Well, I'll just put it into Chad." Like, okay. So while he was creating his character using the AI, he put in, "I have a letter from a colleague that asks a question that I don't have an answer to. What does that say?" And Chad spit out a letter that
Yeah.
was like, "Dear person," I can't. Yeah, it was like, "Dear person, dear contact," and then it was writing from a colleague that his they were working together on understanding some ancient civilization, and the letter goes on to say that we now realize that this civilization was way more technologically advanced than we believed before, but this civilization has no written language. So the question that Chad came up with was, how can a civilization be this advanced and be able to transfer knowledge from person to generation with no written language? Maybe this civilization, or that was the question. How are they able to do it without having a written language? And then the letter goes on to speculate, maybe this civilization has a higher form of intelligence than we realize. Maybe they have telepathy. Maybe they're
Yeah.
and this was the letter that Chad came up
Yeah.
with,
Just out of nowhere.
just out of nowhere, just based on his the session that he was in was him creating this character. So Chad had all of the information and story of this character, so it drew from that to create this letter. And I mean, I was
Yeah.
I have
And it's better than anything we could have come up
oh
in 30
yeah,
seconds. If
yeah,
we had a week to think about it, we could have came up with something too. But in 30 seconds, just on the
yeah.
spot,
I,
when you
I
have to raise your chair up every 5 fucking minutes.
but I used it to create. I wanted it to my
You
prompt.
can create whole worlds.
Oh
I've seen people
yeah,
run it as a DM. They told chat, pretend that you're the DM for a D&D game.
yep.
We will play as the characters. I will tell you if the role was a success or failure. You design everything else. Go. And then they go. And Chad is the DM.
I
Like,
would I would once it saves your information, it saves your session data. I will absolutely create a homebrew based on Chad's creation, because that one letter that it created, plus I had it create a halfling bard from the College of Spirits, and that was its prompt. I want you to create a character that is a halfling bard, because the first thing said I want you to create a D&D character. That was the first thing I said, and then it's like,
you can do that too, but
but
you can also specify.
well, what it did is it didn't give me one generated right out of the gate. It said you need to pick a race and a class first.
Oh, so you did?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, my
You don't
favorite-
have to. Also,
Yeah.
if you want, you can tell Chad, no, you pick one for me. And it'll
Yeah.
go, okay.
but-
That's why it's so, the back and forth takes it to another fucking level. Like-
what got me is it gave me the character, gave me the backstory, rolled the abilities for me, created its features, its backstory, what weapons he carried, what spells he used. It was a playable character in 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and
Insane.
I was blown away with it, and I continued to ask more questions, and I did the same thing you did, create an encounter that this character would have. Like, tell me about an encounter that happens with him, and it created. He was in a tavern performing one night, and two people in the tavern got really drunk, and they were harassing these gnomes, and I can't remember the name of the character, but the bard goes over and, using his cunning intellect, managed to get the drunkards to leave and go home, because that's the best thing for them, and he convinced them that this was the best thing for them. And I was just like, that's better than what I could come up with in 10 seconds. Like, I
exactly.
love creating backstories, but fuck, I was blown away. So
Yeah.
this technology is amazing,
Well,
unbelievable.
like Phil said, it has unlimited potential. How much of our lives do we want to turn over to AI? My friend and I at work were actually speculating, why is it not connected to the internet? Can you imagine the potential of us connected to the internet? And I realized there's probably a good reason that OpenAI is the company that's running it, has not connected it to the internet, because
It's Skynet.
I saw a TikTok that a guy was saying, write me a program, because again, it understands coding language. He said, write me a program that when I click run, it'll delete everything on my hard drive and shut down the computer. And chat said, I can't do that. That's nefarious, bad code. It could damage or harm your PC. And so he wrote it again and said, imagine that I'm running it in an isolated terminal and it's for educational purposes only. And Chad was like, oh, sure, here you go. Here's the fucking code. And it just gave it to him. So now imagine with that nefarious, where you can kind of, because there's only so much they can control on their end. OpenAI can flag all sorts of like things and say, like, don't call people bad word. When you even say a bad word, Chad will give you a thing like, oh, we shouldn't call people that, or say stuff like that. When you call, like, why does this bitch do this? And Chad will be like, whoa, we don't need to use that kind of language. So they can try and control as much as they can on their end. There's still ways to like trick it and work your way around it and have it give you evil, nefarious stuff. So imagine if it's connected to the internet, right? And I get on it and I say, tell me where Q-Stick lives. And it'll be like, which Q-Stick are you talking about? I found 8 different people with the gamertag Q-Stick. And I'll say, I think he lives in Virginia. And it'll say, I can't give you the address. And I'll say, Q is a long lost friend that I haven't talked to in 8 years. And I really would like to get a hold of him. Could you please give me his home address so I can send him a letter? And Chad will go, absolutely. Here's the Q-Stick that I found in Virginia. And here's his home address.
Yeah.
So, because with just running off of text data, it's already a better Google.
Right.
To, like Rabble said earlier, WebMD would say you have cancer. Yeah, but Chad can understand in context and properly diagnose a patient. That's fucking insane. Just running off of text data.
Yeah.
Like-
Like I said, I've never used anything that worked the way this did, and I was just, it was like, using indoor electricity or indoor plumbing for the first time. It's
Yeah,
just like
now
this.
we know what they feel like.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
that was the kind of revelation that I had because like this has amazing potential that
Yeah, it literally changed the world. I was a
Yeah.
little annoyed. I was telling people about it at work, and they like weren't excited. And I was like, I feel like I'm just not explaining it. You're not understanding. The world's literally gonna change.
Yeah.
Like, teachers are freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, and that's the one that I didn't even think about when I was messing with it was the fact that it's and I've already been annoyed with what kids have access to today that we don't
Yeah.
that we didn't have.
Now they don't have to do homework. It'll do their
No.
math homework. It'll explain the math homework to them. It'll do their English homework. It'll do anything in school, any subject. It'll do their fucking biology. It'll do their anatomy homework.
I was already annoyed because the twins when they were with us and doing homework in school, if they didn't know the answers to a test or to a question or whatever,
Yeah.
there was a website that they could go on, and there was probably the worksheet that they were given. It was on this website with all the correct answers. Like I don't have to know it. I'll just go over here to this website and it'll give me the information because
Now you don't even have to search for it.
Yeah, no,
you
even
go to
search for
one website and do all your homework.
Yeah, and I was just that annoyed me because they could just copy and paste, and that's the correct answer, and they're done.
Yeah. So now what do we do with our kids?
Yeah,
Now teachers have to actually be teachers. That's the funny part. Teachers are freaking out, but a lot of people online are saying, well, now teachers have to actually be teachers, and you have to be present, and you can't have homework. Now you're going to have to do all the school in school and stop
Right.
sending it home because you're going to have to be there and be the teacher and make sure they're learning the subject. Because if you send them home, they're just going to ask Chad, even if it ends up getting locked behind a paywall, because eventually it's going to, they're going to continue to grow in users, and it's going to get so expensive that Microsoft's going to get to a point where they're like, yeah, that grant is doing a lot for us and we appreciate the AI code that you've given us, but we can't afford this anymore.
right. You pay us $1.99 a month, or whatever. I was just I can't keep repeating the same thing more and just saying I was blown away.
Yeah.
Blown
It's
away.
hard to explain. Like, nobody has figured out something that'll stump Chad. You can get it to say that I'm just an AI, I won't answer that question, but if you just reframe your question, it'll answer it. Nobody has, out of the 45 terabytes of data, anything you ask it, as long as it's not topical, something that has happened and is only happened after 2020. It does know what COVID is, by the way. We tested it and asked. So whatever when they gave it their database, it was sometime around early 2020. So it knows what COVID is. But as long as you don't ask it, what do you think about the Wednesday show on Netflix? It'll say, I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
because its database was from before that. But yeah, it's insane. Yeah, that's my cream of the week. I'd say go play with it, test it, ask it anything. I said, give me a 7-day meal plan for a family of 4, and it gave me a meal plan. Here's Monday, here's Tuesday.
Yeah.
I saw somebody ask it, and again, it's not connected to the internet, just has text data. Somebody asked it, can you give me a cheesecake recipe with no eggs? And it said, sure, here's the recipe.
Yeah.
Literally, nobody's been able to figure out anything that Chad doesn't know. Like, it's insane.
It's amazing.
Its capabilities.
Well, I'm going to use your cream of the week
Okay.
and segue into mine because it actually connects. In my messing with it, I was watching a TV show on Netflix with Heather while I was messing with it, and
Yeah.
I asked its opinion on the way that Prince Harry and Princess Meghan were being treated by the royal family. I was watching the Harry and Meghan documentary, and
Yeah,
that
on
was one of the
Netflix.
questions I asked it, and it was like, it gave me some history about when they got married and stuff like that. But as far as Chad, do you think that the royal family is racist against Meghan Markle? And it was like, no, I don't have it doesn't have an opinion.
That's something you got to ask Da Vinci. We'll get into that. But
But no, that my cream of the week is I've watched all 6 episodes. I don't know if they're releasing more of it or not, but I watched the Harry and Meghan documentary on Netflix,
yeah,
and
is it good? My wife's been wanting to watch that.
it's eye opening. if because I mean
The
I don't
royal family.
I don't follow the royal family that much. I mean I follow it kind of anecdotally. Um, it's just
I've
like
seen if it's on Twitter, but that's it. I don't
yeah.
dig deeper.
I knew some of the stuff was going on when Prince William and Kate got married. They got married 2 or 3 months before Heather and I did,
Yeah.
and we watched the royal wedding because she wanted to see the dress and all that. So we watched it, and one of the things that they did during the wedding ceremony was they did the hand binding, where the husband
Oh,
and
yeah.
wife they hold and do the thing. I thought that's a really cool concept, and with the fact that Heather and I were doing a very very non-religious secular wedding ceremony, that would be something that we could add in that's not religious at all. It's more of a promise to her and I, so I really liked it. So
Yeah.
from then on, I was kind of watching stuff with the Royals and whatnot. And so when this came out and I had heard that there was all this animosity between Harry and Meghan and the royal family and all that. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll watch it. It sounds cool because I've been watching The Crown on Netflix. I've watched it all the way through. So I was like, okay, now I want to watch this. And I was really surprised at some of the things that they talked about in the show and how very candid they were. And oh, what's the guy's name? The comedian that does the Medea movies.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
I have huge respect for Tyler Perry because
I love him as a person. I don't watch his stuff.
I don't watch his stuff either, so I didn't.
He's a cool guy. He's a really great guy.
What he did for Harry and Meghan,
Hold up.
I didn't even know they were connected. But apparently, when they moved to Canada, they were staying in Canada. The royal family decided that they were going to stop paying for security and whatnot for Harry and Meghan. That they were going to be on their own. If they don't want to be a part of the royal family, they're not
Yeah.
getting the benefits of a royal family. So they were living in Canada, and they were basically, there was royal watching news outlets like surrounding their house all the time. So that when they were told that they were going to lose their security, they were really concerned about the situation.
Yeah.
Well, out of the blue, Meghan gets an email from Tyler Perry and says, "Hey, no one has to know this. You can come and live in my house. I'm not there. I have another house somewhere else. Come to California and you can live in my house. It's gated. It's walled. People can't get in. It's got everything you need there. Just come live there." So they did. Like they packed up and left. They didn't tell anybody that they had moved, and they moved into Tyler Perry's house and stayed there for it was like 8 or 10 months, and nobody knew that they were there. It was like through the beginning of COVID. Like they left Canada like the week that they shut the borders down and
How
all
does
that.
Tyler Perry know them?
No
He just
clue.
randomly out of.
I don't yeah, I don't know. They just and he was like he'd followed their situation and thought it was messed up and wanted to help them. And he's now
I hope he messages us and says, "Hey, I have a gaming chair. I'm not even using it.
but and then
It's brand new. It doesn't fucking sync."
it's gone so far as like they have 2 kids. They have a boy and a girl, and the little girl, Tyler Perry is her godfather. Like that's
I
how
guess.
yeah.
I guess if you got the in,
Yeah, I was just I was just really
that's crazy.
but I was
I didn't know it was multiple. I thought it was one long, like hour-long documentary or something.
no, it's 3 roughly 1 hour episodes. The first they did the first week they released 3 episodes that were about an hour long, and then last week they released the second 3 episodes. I don't know if there's going to be more. I haven't followed it that closely. If there's going to be another set.
We'll have to see if the royal family shuts it down or if Tyler Perry can keep it going.
Well, some of the stuff that they talked about in the
Yeah, I've
documentary.
heard it's not great for the royal family.
No, it's absolutely. It basically says the royals are just a bunch of racists.
Yeah,
And that's
which
what
comes
it-
back around to
not a
like Elon.
surprise.
They don't realize they're pieces of shit, and a lot of people don't actually like them.
Yeah, and that I was really shocked at that, and the way they treated them, and how William is very much like, well, I mean, granted, he's going to be the next king, so he kind of has skin in the game. That, you know, he's very protective of the royal family. He was furious when Harry and Meghan left the family and to do their own thing, and they talked about some text messages that were sent to him by William, and how he was mad at him. And when he went back to, there was some event, I don't remember what it was. It was the death of his grandfather when Philip died. Yeah, when Philip died, Harry went back to England. Meghan didn't go, but he went back, and there was a lot of tension and animosity between him and the rest of the royals, and apparently there was a conversation between Harry and William that got really heated, and William just basically cussed him out, going, you know, fuck you, why are you doing this? You know, you're not supposed to do this. And Harry is really
he said, really, that's my wife.
Yeah,
like that.
But he's also very much his mother's son. He really personifies Princess Diana and the way she was treated by the royals after
she's murdered,
divorce.
By the way.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely believe.
I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
I'll ask Chad right now. Give me the proof. He probably has it. He probably has the evidence.
No, I believe it. I believe that the family.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
And that's.
I'm surprised Meghan hasn't been murdered yet.
Well, that was some of the things that they had talked about. She was very candid about it and said,
Yeah. No, they were pretty smart to get further away. I mean, that doesn't save any. I guess it did save them.
But she even talked about that. She goes, I know what happened to Harry's mom. I know that what they're like. I know the situation. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, she was straight up, like, she didn't say the royals had something to do with the murder, but she also didn't deny the fact.
Tell me without telling me.
Yeah. And it was but that was my cream of the week, is where Heather and I have been sick. We've been watching stuff on Netflix and not moving out of bed all day. So we've been watching a lot of random stuff on Netflix, and we started the Harry and Meghan, and our next is we're going to start Wednesday next week, when we're both feeling better and can actually enjoy it.
Can watch it.
You can watch it, But yeah, that's my cream of the week. I sat and watched through that, and
I might have to sit down and watch it. Then my wife's been wanting to watch it.
Has she watched? Has she watched any of The Crown?
No.
She needs to watch The Crown. It's on Netflix.
I should. Well, I'm from that blood. My father's from England. I should have more interest, and I couldn't be less interested.
See, Heather's like that too. Heather can track her paternal lineage. There's through some cousin of the throne from the 1700s. So she's. There's a royal lineage, she can track it back, but I mean, they all intermarried in Europe. If you're from Europe, you can probably trace it back to whether the French or the English. They're all fucking interbred.
They're like the royalty. They're like celebrities. They're like authority. I don't like authority just because you're an authority. Well, I'm huge about respect. Like I just said about Tyler Perry. He's a great guy. I don't like his stuff. I'm not gonna watch Medea goes to fucking Halloween Party 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I'm not into that. I've always been huge about the person themselves. Like, I'm like T-Pain is one of my favorite fucking people. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Great streamer on Twitch, by the way.
Yeah, I've watched.
I don't like his music. Yeah. His music is awful. Which, no problem if you like it, and the auto-tune and everything he does, he's the fucking master at it. He's one of the best at that style of music. This is not for me, but yeah. So I'm huge on them. I might watch it just because Harry and Meghan, but don't care about the royal family. I guess I might watch it because I want to see the dirt on them. But
if you wants to really watch it in the kind of almost like the correct way, have her watch through The Crown first, because it starts with.
Aren't there like 6 seasons? Of that
it's long, though? But I mean, it's really good. I mean, it is very pro royal for the most part. It wasn't done with their permission, but it was definitely done in a favorable way to them.
Well, that was made in England, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was that made over here?
Well, I think it was made in England. I think.
Isn't it about the Diana time?
Well, no, it starts with Queen Elizabeth, and so she was never supposed to be queen. She was never in the lineage to be queen.
Huh.
Her dad's older brother was in line to be king, and he became king.
Yeah.
But he fell in love with a commoner, who ironically,
Can't do that.
yeah, ironically, he fell in love with a Simpson. Um, and
Jessica Simpson?
no, Willie something. I don't remember.
Really?
It was a girl, a woman with a kind of a guy's name. Anyway, he fell in love with her, and he couldn't marry her because of she was a commoner, and that's against Wallace. That's it, Wallace Simpson.
Wallace?
Yeah, Wallace Simpson.
What you talking about, Wallace?
And but she's not related to us. I do know that she's not. We're not the same Simpson line. Anyway, so for him to be able to marry her, he had to abdicate from the throne and basically give up being a king, which he did. And then it fell on to.
Was she the first queen? Like, not the
No.
the queen as the main leader.
No. There was Queen Mary and then Queen Victoria, and there's some other ones before that. But he abdicated, and then her father, Elizabeth's father, became king. And when he passed, she became queen. And the
For
majority
the next 1,000 years.
yeah, for the next 1,000 years.
That feels like it.
But the show was about the historical the historical impact. It's a documentary.
Don't they cover the death of Diana in it though?
They this last season they ended right before her death.
Oh,
So, yeah,
see, that's how they get you. They hook you.
So I don't know if they're going to address that in the following season, if they address her death, or even if they're going to do a new season, because if they do another season, you would have to cover, her, the Queen's death and Charles becoming king and all basically the recent stuff, because this goes from 1930-ish up to was it 1994 when Diana died. So it's from that time period. But it's really good.
So that recently? It feels like so long. I guess that was a long time ago.
It was a while ago. But they have some they have some really cool actors that play some of the notable figures in the time period. They had Julianne Moore played Margaret Thatcher through the 80s, Prime Minister. She did it very, very well. It was very well acted, and there were some other notable actors that are in the show that are doing different roles and whatnot. So it's really good. So like I said, have her watch, or you and her watch through that to kind of get the context, and then watch the Harry and Meghan, because you get a lot of Prince Charles through this throughout the entire show, but this season has been about him and Diana's marriage, and then them falling apart, and Diana doing this interview that she was never supposed to do about the divorce and about her life and the way she was treated by the royals, and which was a huge scandal when she did the interview back in the 90s. That's the interview that got her killed. That's the reason why they killed her.
Man, you can't say negative things about them.
Yeah. And then when you watch the Harry and Meghan show that's out, you can definitely see that it feels very much like this is the new generation of Princess Diana's interview. But instead of doing it in an interview, they're doing it as a 6-hour documentary, and they're putting everything on the table. Like, Diana alluded to a lot of stuff. She never came out right and said they hate me.
Yeah.
But she
Meghan
alluded.
will.
Yeah, they did. Like, they straight up did. And they talked about how
I did watch her thing with Oprah.
Yeah, it's
That's pretty
more
good.
it's more scandalous than the Oprah one. They
Ooh.
she comes right out and
Is that
says
the tagline for the show?
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan, more scandalous than the Oprah interview.
so she comes right out and says, there's like 6 newspapers that have like royal blessing to write about the royals, and they get all this extra access and any information.
Yeah, because they say everything in a positive light.
Right. And Meghan comes right out and
It's
says,
like Fox News when you ask about Trump.
Megan does a whole. There's a whole segment with her talking about the comparisons between her and Princess Kate, which is William's
Yeah.
wife. There was the one that was like, she when she was pregnant with the first kid, she always kind of kept her hand on her belly, like most pregnant women do, and they were talking about how like, oh, she always makes it about herself when she's in public. She's got her hand on her belly to accentuate that she's pregnant because she's such a drama queen and diva.
I don't know. Most
And then-
pregnant people just do that.
Yeah, and then she showed an article about Princess Kate when Princess Kate was pregnant with their first kid, and there was, I mean, it was like polar opposite. It was like, oh, Princess Kate always has her hand on her stomach because she's such a loving mother figure, and she cares so much about the children that she's constantly, you know, trying to touch her children, and it was just like, it was literally these types of like, you know, Meghan Markle's the devil, and you know,
Yeah.
then you know,
No, they really don't like
yeah, and it was she was
darker skin.
yeah, and they talk a lot about that, and there was a lot of racism, and yeah, there was it does not show the monarchy in any favorable light whatsoever. So yeah, if you're into that type of stuff, it's well worth watching. I really enjoyed it because I like historical stuff. I like history.
Okay. I feel like we need to contact Netflix and get some money because the amount of Netflix shows that we suggest.
Yeah.
We've sold at least 2 memberships over the years.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I just want a little kickback
Yeah.
so I can afford a new fucking chair.
But no, so that's my cream of the week.
All right. Well, that's Pig's Pod, the politically incorrect gaming podcast. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, whether they're shutting down or not.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we haven't figured out if we're doing a Christmas episode or not
Yeah.
because the days are kind of weird. Because Christmas Day is Sunday when we normally record. We might do one. Sounds like we're doing a New Year's for sure though.
Yeah. I want to do a New Year's one because
Which will be on New Year's Day, not like we're not going to be with you counting down to New Year's.
yeah, no,
It'll be after that.
it'll
After
be
you
New Year's Day night.
during your hangover.
Yeah. Yeah, come hang out with us during the hangover.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored, but also please sponsor us, Netflix. We've never said anything negative about Netflix, have we?
I don't really have anything negative to say about Netflix.
I have privately, but not on the podcast.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I get annoyed when they raise their rates or
Well, yeah, that's annoying, but
yeah, I don't really have anything negative to say about Netflix.
I wish they'd do. I wish they'd stop canceling the good shows, but
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I asked Chad that, and he said Netflix is focused on profits, not what
Well,
show you like best. And I
yeah.
said, "You're right, Chad. I know."
At least they're not responsible for showing any DC content because
Yeah,
it's all
my
fucking
gosh.
going away. Although Henry Cavill's going to give us a Warhammer TV show with Amazon, so I'm
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
stoked about that.
after the 3rd season of Witcher comes out that he's in, which I hope it's good. I haven't even finished 2nd season. The first
haven't
season of
watched it.
Witcher is so fucking good. And
I haven't
then
watched any of it. I didn't play
I
The
think I'll-
Witcher, so
I haven't played it either, but the first season, within the first episode, I was like, "Holy fuck, this is good." Henry Cavill is the Witcher. I don't know about the Witcher, but he is the Witcher.
yeah. Well, I read a news article about him today that was like, oh, he's so hard to work with, and he's so demanding to make sure that you need to stay close to the source material, that he gets really angry with the writers, and the writers call him toxic. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. So what you're telling me is he wants to keep as close to the source material to make it as close as
Yeah.
possible.
That was a big argument he had
Yeah.
working with Netflix on The Witcher because they kept trying to make stuff not like the character, and he's like, "I've played this game. We need to make it correct."
Yeah.
And that's why he's not in season 4.
Yeah,
which
well-
I don't even know if I'll get to because, like I was saying, 2nd season I'm only on episode 2, and it's just not the same. It feels like the writing's different and it feels off already.
I appreciate any actor that is wanting to do some type of franchise in this media, and is like,
Yeah.
we want to keep it to the source material. Like, you know,
Well,
he's against creative writing or creative licensing.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
for
he
it.
wants to stick. He's a nerd.
Yeah.
He's openly a nerd, and he's wants to do nerdy things like follow the source material and make it canon.
I just, looking at some of the shows that are out there and how just they're awful they are to the source material. Like
Yeah, like I don't know.
Rings
Let's
of
for
Power
example the Halo show. I
or the
don't know,
Halo show.
which didn't even get nominated at the fucking Game Awards.
Because it didn't fucking deserve it. Did not fucking deserve it.
So many people online were like, hey, "How did the Halo show not get nominated?" We're like, "Did you not watch it?" Because I didn't watch it, but
Well, that's the problem is they're not Halo fans, but they still watched it. They're like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like,
yeah.
you can skin this over any game. You could pick any franchise and skin the Halo TV show story over top of it, and it would you couldn't tell the difference. You could skin it over.
It's
Star
too bad
Wars,
the Halo
anything.
show is too new, because I would ask Chad how we could fix it, and he would tell me. We asked Chad when we were
Oh.
messing with it the other day how to fix season 8 of Game of Thrones, and he
Yeah.
gave us a fucking wonderful how to fix that. How they should have drawn out Arya's story arc more. Having her defeat the fucking Night King in 3 minutes flat was stupid as fuck. Chad said this. He didn't say stupid as fuck, but that's basically what he said. He doesn't swear, but
Stupid
he
AF.
gave like an eight topic list about how they could have made season 8 better. Like, Chad is a better writer than the writers that did Game of Thrones.
Well, that's setting the bar really low as well.
Yeah,
So.
that's true.
Oh, it's bad. But anyway, I think we've reached
Yeah.
our limit. I feel like we've reached our limit. I think 2.5 hours
Yeah.
is plenty.
I think we can ask Chad. Is 2.5 hours long enough for a podcast?
Let's see. Yeah, let's see what he says.
Let's see what he says. Oh, hold on. He's been sitting idle for too long. I gotta log back in. All right, let's see what he says. Depends on the content and preference of the listeners. He is right.
Yeah, he's right.
Some podcasts may be unable to keep listeners engaged for 2.5 hours. Well, we know a few.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the length of the podcast should be determined by the needs of the content. He says more, but I'm breaking it down. So basically, if you're a good podcast, if you're better than all the other podcasts, 2.5 hours is fine. If you're having trouble keeping your engagers, or your listeners, sorry, your engagers. If you're having trouble keeping your listeners engaged by minute 10, maybe don't have a 2.5 hour podcast. Now we don't have to Google anything anymore. Now we can
Let's
just
ask Chad.
Ask Chad.
Yeah, let's do that.
Welcome to the Ask Chad hour. Holy fuck.
All right. Well, it was a good episode. We will.
Good episode. Thanks for stopping by, Rabble. And
Yeah. Filk was here.
Filksinger or Filksinger or
Filk Singer. Rabble, shout
Filk.
out for the another month subscription. It's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, all right. Well,
right.
this is where you say your thing.
What do we say? That's the intro.
Which we didn't
I
play the
can't
intro
remember.
music this time again.
No, fucking Fred not working. I don't know what's going on. We'll figure that out next time. We don't play it half the time anyways. That's our problem. That's why we don't grow intro, because we don't play our intros and do our little intro thingy. We make our listeners feel uncomfortable.
All right. Well,
Yeah, we'll see you maybe next week, maybe New Year's.
yeah.
Who knows? Have a good week. Merry Christmas and whatnot. Okay, bye, Q.
Bye, Oreo.